We all like death games. I'm not talking about the one where characters are forced to kill each other like a battle royale. I mean the one where they have to solve a puzzle and make a crazy decision or they die. It makes you think, why are people so invested in this sick genre? Do we get a thrill watching people fight for their lives? Yes. Look at the Saw movies. Do we somehow get attached to the characters that are specifically designed to be fodder so the game can have stake in it? Whatever the reason is, the Zero Escape series got you in all the departments, including more. The first game, 999, 9 person, 9 doors, 9 hours, was released on the Nintendo DS. Of course everyone knows what the hell the DS was. Dual screen action. I can't believe I now understood what DS stands for. Where the bottom screen was interactive with your finger or one of the many styluses that you lost. Just because it was a handheld doesn't mean it doesn't have any classics. Like, holy crap, that library is impressive. Especially since third-party developers have to take the touchscreen function into account. It was great for action and even learning games, but what about visual novels? On a console where you can pet and starve your Nintendogs, it would be a pretty hard sell. And it was. But for the people who have played or read 999, says that it's unforgettable. I have to say it now, I'm not too big on visual novels. I kinda dislike them. I wanna play a game instead of reading. Yeah, this genre isn't for me, I'm just upset that good and unique stories are exclusive to it. I mean, where else can I find a game where high schoolers are forced to eat feces? To be fair, it isn't right to compare it to other genres, because it knows it's not a real video game. It uses the medium to make it more accessible. It does work. I hate reading books, even if they have pretty pictures in them. I like visuals, music, and voice acting. My mind has its limits, so I like to experience what the author envisioned instead of my interpretation. The Zero Escape trilogy captured me from beginning to end, even if the last game turned everything upside down. They aren't just visual novels, they're also puzzle games. I want to say choose your own adventure, but it kinda requires you to go through every nook and cranny instead of picking one or two routes and be done. I won't be going over the puzzles themselves because let's be real here, they're the least interesting aspect and you're here for the story. I will tell you how I overall feel about them for each game. I'll be using the remaster port of 999 and Virtual Last Reward. They gave 999 voice acting and an easy to follow flowchart where you didn't have to play the game all over again to get different endings, and smoother visuals. If you're interested in playing this yourself, play the original DS version. Even with all the amazing addition, the port obviously doesn't have the dual screen function. You see, on the top screen you were looking through the lens of the main characters. On the bottom screen was the visual novel aspect, like details. Lots of gruesome details. So with two screens at once, it was pretty convenient. The remastered version has something called Adventure Mode and Novel Mode. Adventure Mode is just the characters talking. Novel Mode is filling the screen with the details. Problem with this system is that you have to switch between them, and everyone sticks with Adventure Mode. Not a big deal, you say? It is. In fact, it kinda ruins the story to some people, including me. But if you already played through the original DS version, then it isn't that big of a deal since the impact already hit. You play as a college kid named Junpei who suddenly awakes in a room and is now being flooded. So yeah, the first escape room. Click on anything that catches your attention, you'll find items to put together to either help you figure out a puzzle to find the key in order to leave the room. The puzzles in this game are easy for the most part. It can get tricky from time to time, but it's really great to put that head meat into use. Sometimes, and I really mean rarely, the characters will give you hints or a puzzle will make it easier for you, which is frustrating because some of them do get tricky or borderline cheap. The part that pisses me off the most is clicking on things you wouldn't even think about. I was stuck in the boiler room because I didn't know these black spots were the door to the furnace. It blended in. Again, besides a few, the puzzles in this game were straightforward. You head out the room and run into the main hall, figuring out that you're in the ship. All the while you run into 8 other survivors who escaped their rooms, also trying to desperately find a way out. Everyone notices the numbers on these big metal doors that we can't get through. Then Junpei sees a girl walking down the stairs and it's his childhood friend, Akane Kurashiki, a girl he hasn't seen in over a decade. She slipped and fell on him and they're face to face. But don't worry if it seems too anime, even if the characters look too goofy to be taken seriously. In fact, it's what separates the first 2 games from Zero Time Dilemma. We'll get there. We'll get there. Oh goddamn it, she calls him Jumpy. The person behind our kidnapping calls himself Zero, and every time he talks through the intercom, you can't understand him without the subtitles. How the characters can is beyond me.
Nonary game?
What the hell's that?
Everyone is forced to participate in the Nonary game. Junpei reaches into his pocket and pulls out a sheet of paper that has the rules on them. Basically, everyone has bracelets attached to them. Each has a number with 1 through 9. If there's a door with a number on it, let's say 4, they have to add up to the digital root that matches the number door. For example, 5 plus 6 plus 2 equals 13. Separate the 1 and 3, then do 1 plus 3 and that makes 4. Those people run in and deactivate the bomb in their body by finding the touchpad. After that, they have to solve the puzzle room and then they can lead to the next area. In order to escape the game, they have to find a door with the number 9 on it and they only have 9 hours to escape before the ship floods. With nowhere else to go but through the number 4 and 5 doors, they all agreed that they need to move forward. First, let's get to know who we're dealing with. Starting from 1 is Ace, like the ace in the deck of cards. Throughout the whole journey for now, he's just the big guy who knows stuff, but he does act like the leader of the group. 2 is Snake, you know, like Dice. But I'm always thinking about eels and escalators. He's cool as fuck and snarky when he's helping out Junpei with puzzles. He's blind, but that doesn't mean he can't hold his own. Pick a fight with him and he will put you down. 3 is Santa. Sun means 3 in Japanese. He's the cool boy who really likes standing out from the other guys. 4 is Clover, because of the 4-leaf clover. The sister of Snake. She looks like an obnoxious airhead who complains a lot, but she's actually not. She's really smart, which isn't saying much considering everyone in the series always pulls up random trivia no normal person would ever think about in their normal lives, but it always ends up being relevant here. 5 is Junpei the player. He doesn't get a code name because Akane accidentally told everyone who he is. He has a good heart, but not the typical kid who's like, I'm going to save everyone and take down the bad guy. Nah, he's far from that. 6 is Akane, whose code name is June, the month in the year. A sweet girl Junpei wants to protect. She's really nice to everyone and tries to make the best out of the situation.
Are you hiding something?
What would I hide?
Well, I don't know. Anything. I mean, you're hiding it. How would I know?
You mean like the number of men I've dated? Do you want to know? Don't worry. Only 18. Times 0. Yeah, I guess I just haven't met Mr. Right yet.
Yeah, I see.
7 is, well, 7. He's the big muscle gorilla who has a heart of gold. 8 is Lotus. A lotus has 8 petals. She's my least favorite characters out of the 8 main characters. It's mostly due to her choice in clothing. You know me, I'm a guy who's in favor of attractive women in video games. Ugly ones can be kicked to the curb. But in the survival game where it should be taken seriously, I hate that I'm being distracted whenever Lotus shows up on screen. Her character is just whatever, but it looks like those jugs will pop out at any moment. Then there's the guy with the 9th bracelet. He's acting really strange, almost like he shouldn't be here, so he plans to leave early. Holds out a knife and holds Clover hostage. He forces Clover to place her bracelet hand on the scanner for the number 5 door and demands Ace to do the same thing. The door opens and the 9th man heads in alone. The group hears beeping from the other side of the door and the man is panicking out of sheer horror.
This wasn't supposed to happen! This is wrong! This is wrong!
What is happening in there?
Open the door, please! I'm begging you! Help me! Please!
God damn it! Why? Why won't it work? Engaged? Is it because it's occupied?
Oh my god! There's no time left! Listen, I was lied to! He lied to me! He put me in here! It was him! He killed me! It was him!
Already, the first death has occurred. You all unlock the door and see the guts and gore everywhere. The weird thing about me is that I can look at gore. I play games with that shit throughout my whole life. I can't lie, I watch videos of that shit and enjoy it at times. I'm waiting to watch a murder happen right in front of me. Although the series tries to not show you the details, it does describe it. I don't know why that makes me woozy. I can watch bloods and guts being spilled, but describing organs and even things you don't see like the fat being splattered on the walls has me cringing. There's 2 girls in one cup. Then there's Euphoria, where a girl is tied down, forced to eat shit while gag on it due to how much it's burning her throat. I'm genuinely sorry for putting that description in your mind. Everyone is shocked, but Santa knows that we all need to keep moving. No more dilly-dallying. The reason the Knife Man was killed was because he broke the rules. Everyone who enters must contribute. So in order to deactivate the bomb, those who verified themselves must enter the room and work together. Soloing is not an option since each numbered door requires 3 to 5 people. Simply, don't break the rules or try anything clever. The bracelet will know. Now you gotta choose. Since the main character is always the deciding factor, you wanna go through the number 4 door and be paired with Santa, Lotus, and Kane, or go through door 5 with Seven and Snake. Can't leave your girl alone, so you head into door 4. You all run through the door and quickly search for the deactivation device. You know the characters aren't going to die, but it's always intense. They place their hand on the device and it's all good for now. Yeah, all you gotta do is solve the puzzle room and seek a way out. I'm not going into the puzzles since we're all here for the story, and if you plan to play this game for yourself, it's rewarding to solve it and feel smart for it. I probably will talk about some throughout the series, but not give you the answers. I just want to talk about how some of them piss me off. This is the last time I will ever recommend this ever. I know people click on this video because they want to know about a game without playing or reading it for themselves. I get it, I do the exact same thing too. I just don't want to ruin an amazing story with the best plot twist ever that is exclusive to the DS version. I know no one is going to listen. All I will say is that your personal experience should be worth more to you than you watching my video is worth more to me. You'll always be paired up and it's a good way to connect with who's ever accompanying you. There's time where you will have to make choices and it will dictate the ending you will get. One instance that Santa gives you a bookmark with a 4-leaf clover on it. He hates what it represents. Hope, faith, love, and luck. He really doesn't want to hold on to it, so you have the option to take it or not. We decide to take it if it bothers him that much. Trust me, it comes back way later. I think the most humorous thing about this series is that everyone's a walking Wikipedia for trivial matters. Junpei, Akane, and Santa ends up being locked in the freezer and they need to get out. Instead of quickly finding the solution, Akane gives us a lecture on ice. Not the one that get rid of illegal immigrants or exactly the one you put in your drink. There's dry ice that's frozen carbon dioxide, and there's something called Ice 9. Ice that doesn't melt at room temperature. Ice 9 was fictional until it became a real thing. There's a lot of trivia that's relevant to the story, and my favorite aspect of the series is how they incorporate real world theories and events into the story that not only strengthen the narrative, but gets you to question the reality of our world. They bring up the Titanic, telepathic experiments, and even reference movies that you will never see the same again. I would like to explain all of them, and I do like doing research on games I want to talk about, but there's a limit on how much I can look up before I get lost in a rabbit hole and someone gets bored. So the 4 men out of the room and explore the next area. They enter a large medical bunker and spot numbered doors, 3, 7, and 8. As they're trying to figure out the doors, the other 5 reunite with us. The panels are off and there's no way to advance. The group decides to explore the floor and hope to find something. They split up and after a while, Junpei heads back to the bunker and finds that everyone's around the door with the panels now working. They have no idea why it's active now. They do notice that Snake is missing. Everyone assumed that he's lost, but Clover says otherwise. She runs off and looks for him. Can't move on without them, so we head out and search for them. You can go around and chat with people while we're limited on time. Run into Clover, who still couldn't find her brother. She lashes out on us and demands that she's left alone. Unable to find him, they have no choice but to move on. The thing is, Lotus brings up the fact that someone's going to have to stay behind. The numbers don't add up. This gets everyone riled up, but Ace volunteers to stay behind, hoping they would come back for him. Now you gotta choose what door to go through, 3, 7, or 8. If you pick 7 or 8, that means you can't be with Akane. Only 3 allows that. The catch is, more people would be left behind. Although that's true, thinking with your dick makes a guy determined. Junpei needs to convince people that door is important. The best way is a demonstration. Junpei tells Seven to place his hand on the panel, followed by Akane, and then himself.
Hey, wait a minute. What the hell are you up to?
I'm not up to anything. I'm just waiting.
Waiting for what?
I'm waiting for the balance to shift. Santa, or Lotus and Clover. Once one of you moves, the others won't have a choice. So I'm waiting.
You son of a bitch! You tricked us! And all that stuff you were going on about is all bullshit!
Bullshit? Huh. I don't think so. Didn't I tell you I'd figured out another way to get out of here? This is it.
Why the hell would you do something like this?
Jumpy.
You did this just so you could go through the same door as June. That's it?
So, who's it going to be? Santa? Or Lotus and Clover?
Shit!
Let's go, Clover. Huh?
Fuck!
Oh, no, wait!
Ah! This is insane! This isn't right!
Yeah, well, you may be right, but...
I love watching other characters competing for their survival. Shit like this gets me so hyped to the point it's unhealthy. They run in and quickly deactivate the bomb. They notice that the room is dark, smelly, and the floor is slippery, and that's due to the body that recently blew up. That body belongs to Snake. Akane freaks out of pure terror. Junpei has to calm her down and promise that he will always be by her side. Even as kids, he wanted to be her knight in shining armor. Even if it did get him fucked up, she was his first love. That's why it broke his heart when she had to move away. The whole relationship is built on the past. Let's just ignore the fact that people can change a lot in a decade. Even as grown adults now, the two will always remind each other that they are still the kids they once were. They made it out and the path leads them back to the hospital bunker. Lotus is clearly pissed, but Seven suggests that they all go look at the body we discovered. Why couldn't you just tell them? The situation is already stressful as it is. Looking at a disfigured man isn't doing anyone any favors, especially Clover. Snake was murdered by at least 2 people. They opened the door and threw him in there. Who could have done it? They suspect that one of us is Zero, but with no clues, they move on. They opened the elevator door with the key card we found and discovered the number 2 door. Junpei, Seven, and Lotus agrees to head through it. As we are progressing with the puzzle, Seven gets a headache. You see, when he woke up on this ship, he couldn't remember anything before. Classic amnesia plot device. Seven gains some of his memories back and claims that he's been here before. He was a cop and his case was to find the kidnapped kids that went missing 9 years ago. During his investigation, he finds that a company called Cradle Pharmaceuticals was the prime suspect. In the middle of his mission, he was hit in the head and drugged. Waking up in the same room, he hears people talking about the kids. Seven finds a vent and crawls through it, and that's all he remembers. Lotus asks Junpei and Seven a favor in case anything ever happens to her. She asks them to tell her daughters that she will always love them. She tells them one of their names and both Junpei and Seven were surprised. Seven knows Lotus' last name because her daughters were part of the experiments that were done on the missing children. After 9 days when they were originally kidnapped, they were let go and returned to their parents. Lotus couldn't ask her children in fear of making them relive those 9 days and took it upon herself to investigate. Out of nowhere, they start to talk about the Gensfeld effect, a telepathy experiment. It was done in 1930 that involved 2 subjects, the receiver and the observer. The receiver has all the sensory blocked out, seeing, hearing, feeling, all that stuff, while the observer has to look at images and telepathically send it to the receiver. It didn't go well as expected, it's all pseudoscience, but that doesn't mean there couldn't be a sixth sense. There was a study done on rats, because it's always rats, that placed them in a dark maze that is filled with water. There's an exit and other paths leads to a fence that will shock them. The first rat made it out. They continue to use more rats, and each new one finds the exit faster. It's like someone you never met telling you where to go and disguised as instinct. The water is supposed to put them in a death situation. Only when your life is on the line do your perception and brain start to fire rapidly to keep itself alive. The three escape and look for the others. Strangely, no one is around. They stumble upon the door they shouldn't open, but it seems like the other team found the key for it. They run back and find them dead. Akane is the only one missing. Lotus demands them to grab their key and leave before the murderer comes back. They run into a giant steel door. It opens for no reason. I have to say, this song always gets under my skin. It's like having the world collapsing on you and some sick fuck is watching and enjoying the show. Junpei heads in without Seven and Lotus and finds Akane barely clinging to life. He promises that everything will be okay, but she knows that it's over. Telling him how much he means to her before passing on, Junpei heads back and finds Seven and Lotus corpses. Completely broken, he stumbled upon a submarine and just before boarding it, he was stabbed in the back. So yeah, that's one of the bad endings. Truthfully, it's a worthless route that doesn't add anything of value. Luckily, it's the only one. Let's go back and choose the number 7 door. Junpei, Seven, and Clover deactivate the bomb.
Whew. You never really get used to it.
I would have thought a guy your size would have bigger balls than that.
What? What the hell did you just say? Say it again! I dare you!
You have no...
You little... You wanna die?
I'd like to see you try.
You fucking brat! Alright, let's go!
Hey, calm down, guys. This isn't the time for this.
I like Clover, but she can be a real brat at times. I think she just knows that a young pretty girl can get away with how they act. They head into the operating room and find the mannequin being the centerpiece. So depending on what room you went with earlier can change how your interaction can go with the other characters. Of course, it will dictate the ending you will get. When we were in the freezer and talk about Ice 9, Seven ends up talking about Alice, also known as All Ice. When the Titanic sank, the CS McKay Bennett went out and collected the bodies. They found a coffin and inside was a mummy, not the one wrapped in bandages. She was preserved. The victim's frozen corpses began to thaw, but she didn't. It was all due to Ice 9. This is actually a real hoax. People said that the reason the Titanic hit the iceberg was because it carried the coffin of a pharaoh and it cursed the ship. Turns out it was a hoax. Everyone was just unlucky, especially if you were a grown man. They escape and Clover suspects that Snake might be dead. Well, from the other route, she ain't wrong. We tell her to keep moving, so you know, we go in a circle and meet up with everyone again, and with the newfound keycards, there's more numbered doors. Clover went through the number 3 door with 7 and 8 and well, you know what's in there. She's clearly distraught, but we gotta go through the numbered doors, 1, 2, and 6. Everyone voted what door they wanted. We already went through door 2, so 1 it is. Heading into the captain's quarter with Ace and Clover, the 3 find the dead body of the captain with the number 0 bracelet on him. It's obviously not 0, but it could be relevant. Meeting up with the others again, they found the number 9 door. It's our way out, but Clover is acting really suspicious. Like, hey, we didn't go through one of the doors. Let's check it real quick. We're running out of time and the exit is right there, but they feel bad for the girl. Akane, Seven, and Santa go with her. Everyone separates and Clover heads back to Junpei alone and is like, you wanna see something cool? It then shows him the hacked body of the 3 she killed with an axe she found in the captain's quarter. Suspected that Santa and Seven killed Snake, Akane tried to protect them, but an 18-year-old girl was apparently too strong for the 3 of them. Wow, that's actually stupid. Clover already picked up the 0 bracelet and only needs Junpei 5 to open the 9 door. A bracelet falls off if the person's heartbeat reaches 0, so Clover kills Junpei and goes on her merry way. Fuck you, Clover, you didn't need to. Going back to choosing door 6 with 8, Santa, and Akane, they end up in the boiler room and I really fucking hated it. Everything was smooth until I was stuck for 20 minutes trying to look for the furnace door. Like, come on, why did it blend in so well? Looking back, Ace brought it up, but I couldn't see it for the life of me. Akane gets a fever. In fact, she's been getting hit with random fevers from time to time. Saying that she's really heating up, they solve the puzzle for that room and both Junpei and Akane find Santa staring at a photo of his sister. He calls himself Santa and asks which one is he. There were two Santa Clauses, a white one who gives gifts to good little children and a black one who plays tricks on them. Over time, the black Santa tricks gets crueler and crueler to the point where the white one has to intervene. He murdered the black one by repeatedly stabbing him to the point his clothes became red with his blood. Santa and his sister's parents died in an accident. He had to be a role model for her. He makes some money, saves it up, and tells his sister to write a letter to Santa Claus. He finds a way to read the letters and buys what she wants and then places it under the Christmas tree. Seeing his sister smile was enough to keep him going. And then one year, his sister sent a letter to Santa Claus and asked him for everlasting happiness to the both of them. Santa couldn't fulfill that. 9 years ago, she died. Ever since then, he asked himself if he was the white or black Santa. They head into the next room and find a puzzle with the characters' faces. Ace gets really exhausted looking at them, but don't worry about that now. They also find a gun and agree to leave it there. What could go wrong? They not only find the number 9 door, but there's 2 of them. With not very complicated math, but it still requires time, it was meant for all 9 people to escape. Unable to go through the doors, they went out to look for the others. Junpei noticed a coffin, but is unable to do anything with it for now. Clover went missing and we gotta go search for her. To our surprise, Lotus was killed, and soon after, Junpei was stabbed in the back. That was to be expected. Let's go back all the way to the first number doors, 5 and 4. This time, we're going through door 5 with 7 and Snake, where the Nice Man bloods and guts is everywhere. Snake just casually walks through it because he can't see shit, but I imagine the smell is repulsive. I remember bitches be farting in class and teachers be like, breathe through your mouth. I'm here like, I don't want no guy's musty ass gas in my system. So they find a safe in the room, but we'll get back to that later. The events play out the same. Snake goes missing, Clover get depressed, and this time instead of going through door 7, you go with 8. Lotus and Clover will be accompanying you. They enter the laboratory and Clover is upset about Snake. She walks off into a room as the gate shuts behind her. She's now separated from us. Work on a solution to get her out. Lotus starts talking about wacky shit about computers and brains transferring waves and stuff like that. The thing that catches our attention is when she brings up prosopagnosia. It's a rare neurological condition where people can't recognize and distinguish faces. It's livable, but terrible to have. I heard that making connections can be really hard, and the only way to tell apart who's who is by individual unique traits, like a scar, colored hair, voices, clothes, and stuff like that. In fact, we can't tell monkeys apart unless they have a distinct feature. I guess if you're around them all the time, you probably can pick out your dog among a bunch of lookalikes. I probably can. I look up that animals can recognize human faces, but I think it's the features and smells they remember. Getting closer to helping Clover out, she decides to tell us more about Snake's past. He got into a really bad car accident that caused his blindness. Not only that, he lost his left arm and the one we see now is a prosthetic. Nice to know. Let's get out of here. Back to the hospital bunker, Clover wants to go through door 3 to find Snake. Oh, she'll find them. So, entering door 8 in this route, there was a puzzle with everyone's picture on keycards and Ace couldn't solve it. Safe assumption is that he has prosopagnosia. We discovered that Ace is the president of Cradle Pharmaceuticals, you know, the organization Seven told us he was investigating back in the other route. Clover goes missing and instead of getting stabbed in the back this time, we head into the shower room where Snake died, and there was a left arm with bones and flesh mangled. As we know, Snake's left arm is a prosthetic, which means that's not Snake. Seven comes up to us and tells us they found Clover and she's dead. Who could have killed her? Junpei suspected it was Seven since he was the only one in the vicinity of the body. The reason Seven was in the area was because of the safe we couldn't open earlier. Seven searched Clover's body and found a note she was gripping. Inside is a riddle. It's referring to the bracelet. Junpei pushes the metal buttons in the order of the riddle and gives him a sequence of numbers. He uses the code to open the safe. Inside are some notes, stating that the Nori game was played 9 years ago and was created by the CEO of Cradle Pharmaceuticals and his colleagues. Junpei figures out that you don't need the person in order to verify the door, just the bracelet. He starts playing mind games with Ace by asking him who Junpei is, but he's not Junpei. He and Santa switched clothes, but they obviously didn't. Ace is acting really weird and confused. He goes into an explanation why Junpei is not Santa by saying how we wouldn't be able to go through certain doors and the number on bracelet is different, when a normal person responds with mention our faces, confirming he does has prosopagnosia.
Very well. I confess. I have prosopagnosia. I cannot differentiate human faces. Is that what this was about? You want to mock me for my disorder?
No, not at all. I'm not making fun of you at all. In fact, I feel kind of bad for you. No, the reason I brought this up is that there's an excellent chance the person who killed Snake has prosopagnosia.
What do you mean?
I'll just come right out with it. I think it was you, Ace. You killed him.
Junpei said the reason Ace volunteered to stay behind was so no one can enter door 3 and see the dead body. Because of his prosopagnosia, he meant to kill Snake, but mistaken someone else as Snake since they were wearing his clothes. But why would Ace want to kill Snake? Easy. To keep one of the kidnapped children from 9 years ago from opening his mouth. But how did he open the door when you need 3 people for it? Junpei told him that he took something out of his pocket while Ace was asleep before we went through the doors without him. Ace reached into his coat and was tricked again. He had the number 9 bracelet the whole time. Ace pushed down the facade, admitting to everything. He tried to kill Snake. He killed Clover because she suspected something. He is the CEO of Cradle Pharmaceuticals that created the Nuremberg game 9 years ago. Time to take the bastard down. Not really, because he pulls out the golden revolver and takes Lotus hostage. He straight up confesses that he's the one who convinced the Knife Man to act all out and get himself killed, telling him that his bracelet is altered where it only needs one person to deactivate the bomb. Clearly it was a lie. Ace just wanted his bracelet because if you do all the math, 9 is the ultimate number that can open all the doors. I mean, you can tell that because the game revolves around the goddamn number. When I went to get my first driver's license, I had to get a notary. And I was thinking to myself, how did this involve the number 9? It doesn't. He was also a colleague that lent a hand in the first notary game, so there's that too. Ace heads for the number 9 door. Akane has a fever, so she and Santa stays behind while Junpei and 7 gives chase. Ace already went through the door, the two of them were now stuck and they're hearing banging from the coffin behind them. They can't force it open, so Junpei needs to put in the passcode. What could it be? It's probably the same code from the safe we opened earlier. Hey, what do you know? It opened. And it's Snake, called the Colonel. If I remember, I'll explain why Snake's clothes were switched out. They can't proceed considering they only add up to 5. 7 pulls out the 0 bracelet that he looted from Clover while making sure that he doesn't tell Snake about his sister's death. 7 and Snake scanned it and it doesn't register, suspecting that the bracelet is a different number. Junpei and 7 scanned it with the bracelet and it was actually a 6. They go through the door and Snake is able to come because his solution is to detach his prosthetic arm with the bracelet on it. They enter the incinerator and Ace is waiting there with a gun to Lotus' head. There's another 9 door and the incinerator just activated its countdown at 9 minutes. I swear this game is the reason why that number scares me. To be real here, I don't know why Ace decided to stay, but he confesses to Snake that he killed Clover. And Snake is pissed as fuck. The sick bastard doesn't just provoke him, he straight up described to him how he killed her and enjoyed it. Ace plans to kill the rest, but Snake gets the fuck up and plans to murder the bastard. Ace unloads his gun on him, but Snake grabs him and tells him, if I'm going to die, I'm taking you with me.
Finally, I'll kill you. You won't get away. You son of a bitch! You're a monster! Get off me! Let me go, damn you! Ah! This is it, Ace. We're going to
burn to death together. What?
Ace is begging for his life like the pathetic coward that he is, while being mocked by the man he thought he killed twice already. Junpei 7 and Lotus have to leave, but Junpei can't leave him behind. The weird thing about this game is that the characters realistically only know each other for about 9 hours, if you don't count the established connections some of them already have. That's less than a full day, yet they really care about one another if someone's in harm's way. I don't know if it's like that in real life. I know people would lend a helping hand, but I doubt many would be emotionally attached to the point they would risk their own well-being. At least for me. The player of course spends more than 9 hours with the cast, so of course they're going to get attached. You don't get much of Snake, but when he's on screen, he's a lovable badass, and this scene shows it. Junpei tells Seven and Lotus he's going to bring Santa and Akane. He searched for them, only to find Akane laying on the ground. He holds Akane in his arm while screaming at the ceiling for Zero. It's over. Zero claims that he failed and lost, telling Junpei that the choices he made were the wrong ones. Akane disappears and Junpei is knocked out by gas. To get the true final ending, you need to take the bookmark from Santa, go through door 7 with Clover, and give that to her, and it will give her hope that Snake is alive. She tells you what happened 9 years ago. First, she goes into her theory about Locke's socks and Theseus' ship, which is a very interesting mind experiment. If something is damaged and you replace the broken part and repeatedly keep doing that, whenever that one thing is broken, is it really the same thing as it started out as? Here's a good example. Everyone sees the out the shell of a car. Let's say that the car engine died. It's the heart, and without it, you might as well get a new one. But you're so attached to everything else and replace the engine with a fresh new one. Yeah, you can say it's the same car by appearance, but can you really say it's the same one you've been driving? Yeah, the mileage says you drove 200,000, but the engine only went through 30 miles. Something to think about. Go through door 1 with her, and Junpei tells her about the left arm he saw with blood and bones sticking out of it when they went to observe what they thought was Snake's corpse. I don't know why he had the need to say that, but it did shock Clover.
What's wrong? Look, I'm sorry if I said anything.
Thank you.
Huh? What are you...
Thank you so much, Junpei.
Hey, what's going on with you?
I'm sorry, it's just... I'm so happy.
Why?
The body in the shower room, it isn't his. It isn't my brother.
Huh?
It's not Snake.
Why on earth would you think that?
Because his left arm is... I'm sorry. I really shouldn't be talking about this. But he's still alive. I'm so happy. I'm so glad.
Huh?
Junpei, you were right.
Huh?
No matter what happens, you can never lose hope. You have to remember what's most important, and that's to have faith and to have love. If you can remember all of those, that'll bring you good luck.
Junpei tells her he got those words and bookmark from Santa, and Clover told him that the only people who should know the same are the kidnapped children from 9 years ago. Clover and Snake were part of an experiment, but the two were on different ships. There was the Gigantic, the sister ship of the Titanic, the one Snake was on, and a building in Nevada desert that was meant to replicate the interior of the Titanic, the one Clover was on. It was to tap into the morphic genetic field. It's basically telepathy, where the transmitter communicates with the receiver telepathically and give them answers. It can only be tapped into when put into a life and death situation. I'm dead serious, remember that, because it's the most crucial aspect in the series. They leave the captain's quarter, the other team found the 9 doors, and all 7 of them are here. Now they're stuck, because they're trying to figure out who will go through the doors. Only 3 or 4 people can go through the doors, and that means the rest will have to stay. 7 is like, nah, you can actually all go. I'll just chill here. Everyone denies 7. We're all getting out of here, big guy. Santa wants to get a word in.
Whoa, hold on a minute. I haven't said anything yet.
Are you agreeing? You want to leave him here?
Nah, I'm against it. I don't want to leave 7 here alone.
Then I don't see how it matters.
I said alone.
Huh?
I said I don't want to leave 7 alone.
What the hell are you?
What? You don't get it? I can't leave just one person. I need 2 more. 3 people, including 7. I'll be leaving behind 3 people. That's my proposal. No, those are my orders.
What do you mean, orders? What the hell makes you think you can order us around? Who the hell's gonna listen to you?
You all will. In 3 seconds, you won't have a choice.
What?
3, 2, 1. See? I told you.
Huh? What? Why? What the hell is that?
He's getting his and Akane's bracelet on the panel and demands Ace and Lotus to do the same. With no choice, they follow Santa through the door and now we're stuck here. They hear the coffin banging but don't know the passcode to it. This is where everything changes. Junpei remembers the riddle from the other route. He dials the bracelet and it gives him the passcode. Snake and Clover finally reunite. When I first saw this, I was flabbergasted. It was like they were giving me the cheat codes to win an unfair game. With the 4 of them, they can go through the other door. Not before testing out the 0 bracelet that Clover picked up. If you remember, it's a 6, which is Akane's bracelet. So are there 2 6 now? No, because her bracelet was flipped and it was actually a 9. Even the cover art tells us that. Wanna know another fact? Akane and Santa always go through the same doors. His bracelet isn't actually a 3. It's a 0. I always hated school growing up and truthfully still do. But thank God do we have facilities to exercise our brain. I have to use a lot of autocorrect writing this whole script. I can't spell for shit. The 4 of them entered the library and Snake tells Junpei everything. Pulling out a note in Braille, he was forced to keep his mouth shut by 0 or else 0 would activate Clover's detonator. So the 4-leaf clover Santa recited is evidence that he was part of Snake's group 9 years ago. Snake goes into the theory of morphogenetic field and I guess mass hysteria. If everyone starts laughing for no reason, the chances of you joining in increases, even if you have no knowledge of it happening. Ace and his company kidnapped 18 children who were a pair of siblings. One half was the transmitter and the other half was the receiver. The 2 groups had to solve the exact same puzzles. In fact, the same puzzles we've been doing the entire game. The transmitters were in the building in Nevada, while the receivers were in the Gigantic. But the thing is, in order to access the field, the kids needed to be in danger. So they blew a big hole on the ship and it was sinking. The transmitters needed to access the field in order to help the other group to solve the puzzles or else they would die. They also brought up Apollo 13 and well, people still argue if Apollo 11 was fake or not. I believe in aliens, but what the fuck do I know? A tragedy happened during the experiment. One of the kids died. There was a brother and sister. The brother was named Aoi. His sister who died was named Akane. Understandably, Junpei freaks out and tries to be reasonable, because who would the Akane we know now be? The 4 enter Zero's lab and had to find a keycard to escape. Holy shit, did the puzzles piss me off. This compass shit should have been clear, but I clearly was doing something wrong. Tic-tac-toe math fucking frustrated me. I overthought the Morse code, added up all the numbers were fine until the last one, which was a trick question. Hey, I'm just a dumbass. I only passed high school with enough credits to get my diploma. They unlock a secret drawer and inside is a picture of Ace, the 9th man, the man who was mistaken for Snake, and the dead body we found in the captain's quarters. In this route, this is how they found who Ace really is. At this time, 7 remembers everything. Like I said way back then, 7 was a detective investigating Kratos Pharmaceutical. He was caught and thrown in a cell. He found a vent and crawled through it. He heard the voices of the kids and followed them. He found a latch I guess and opened it. Surprised to find the missing kids he was looking for. They were shocked to see him, but were scared for their lives because they were in the incinerator and the countdown has already started. 7 promised to save them, so he went back to the cell room and made a rope out of sheets. I don't know why that room has like 30 feet worth of sheets, but it's best not to think about it. 7 questioned why there's less kids than before, and they answered that they went through the 9 door. With no time to explain, 7 pulls them up one by one. Staring directly through one of the doors, Ace, or rather his real name Hongo, is furious that the kids are gone. As they all make their escape, young Santa knows that his sister is missing and goes back to look for her. 7 and Snake follow and find Ace dragging the girl into the incinerator. After a while, flames stop and the door opened. all they found was the remain of a charred little girl. Her name was Akane Kurashiki. You're probably asking, how is that possible? We got to know her throughout the game. She even knows the details of the memories Junpei had with her. Well, I'm obviously going to explain everything soon. I just want to know if your balls are tying up with anticipation. Putting together that the people who died so far were involved in the creation of the Nornori game, Zero knocked out Snake and drugged Ace's right-hand man and switched their clothes. Zero actually saved Snake. The next victim will be Ace. They made it to the incinerator and entered it, finding Snake gripping his stomach and Akane slumped on the wall. Junpei checks up on her to make sure she's okay. For some reason, no one notices that Ace has the gun and is holding Lotus hostage. Ace scanned his, Lotus, and the ninth man's bracelet. Ace pulls the lever, but the door is not opening. Seven runs up to him and punches the shit out of him. For some fucking reason, Junpei has the need to explain everything to Ace. In fact, the whole game, Junpei loves narrating and talking to himself like he's homeless. With the voices turned off, it's fine, you know, visual novel stuff. But with it on, you're concerned if he has schizophrenia or he's actually 7 years old talking to his imaginary friend. I talk to myself a lot and have been caught and questioned many times, but Jesus Christ, can you do it when no one else is around? Zero basically set up the Nornori game to get his revenge for what happened 9 years ago. Everyone thinks Santa is Zero, but in actuality, he's Zero's assistant. This Nornori game wasn't just made for revenge. It was made to save Akane, the Akane that died 9 years ago. The Akane now disappeared. The reality they know is changing, or rather, in the process of being made. The morphic genetic field allows two people to communicate without being in the same physical vicinity, via telepathy, exchanging information to help one another. There was a mistake with the first Nornori game. Siblings were split up, but Santa and Akane were on the Gigantic together. He was a receiver and she was a transmitter. How did Junpei know things he couldn't have? The passcode, Ace's prosopagnosia, the motive, the methods. Junpei is the only one who has no connection to what happened 9 years ago. Why him? Because he's the only one who can save the girl who he cherished the most. Zero is her future, but only if she survives. Santa picks up the gun and aims it at Ace.
Hey, what's your plan, Santa? What are you doing? Didn't I tell you? I'm Santa Claus. It's time for me to go make a wish come true.
That line shouldn't make any sense, but because we heard his story in the other route, it's like he's telling us, the player, that we know what he's talking about. The five needs to leave, but the door will not open. As they're trying to figure a way out, the game shifts to young Akane. Remember novel mode, the visual novel option that's rarely used? That's young Akane's perspective, while adventure mode is Junpei's perspective. Akane is making her escape with the 8 other kids. They all make it into the incinerator. Of course, there's only one door and the countdown has already started. This is where Seven comes in and saves the kids. As they're running up the stairs, Akane realized that she dropped a present she was going to give to Junpei. Without telling anyone, she heads back to pick it up, and then Hongo snatches her. Throwing her in the incinerator, she was left alone to die a horrible death. And now Junpei and the others will suffer the same fate. Everyone is panicking. In the middle of the room, a device rises from the ground. Not just for us, but also for Akane. The machine turns on for both of them. Hongo tells her that if she solves the puzzle, the incinerator will deactivate. Akane has solved every puzzle before this one. This is the only one she doesn't know how to. Begging for help, she screams out for Junpei. He hears her and calls back. They both have access to morphic genetic field due to their lives being in grave danger. Junpei now understands why they were kidnapped and the Nornori game was made. For this exact moment. All the pain and suffering of loss and death was to give a little girl a future where she lives. It's time I talk about what was lost in this port. Some people have problems with this port. It could be the characters making weird noises when they're supposed to be silent, or the flowchart ruined the interpretation people have for this game. I'll Getting into that, I want to talk about Virtue's last reward. The biggest concern for everyone, including me, was how were they going to pull off the plot twist that Akane was the self-monologuing. The series creator, Kotaro Uchikoshi, wanted to make an escape room death game, but not just any visual novel, one that was made with the Nintendo DS in mind. The top screen is Junpei's perspective. All along, you were meant to believe that the bottom screen is his inner thoughts, and where you would do all the puzzles. It really blew my mind when they were revealing who was really talking. At first, I thought they were doing some fourth wall shit, but it was Akane going through the gigantic at the same time as Junpei. In fact, all of the puzzles were mostly done on the bottom screen. She was telepathically giving him the answers. So when it was time for Junpei to step up and save the girl who has been helping him all along, the game inverts itself so you can turn the DS upside down and solve the Sudoku puzzle as him. We're at the point in gaming where visionaries are integrating mechanics into the experience. Like, it's not just the fourth wall breaking, it's also like it wants to tell you how clever they are for showing off its meta elements to tell you it's only in video games. Don't get me wrong, it's cool, but I've seen this so much to the point it's expected. To me, 999 plot twist has never been beaten. It doesn't just use the medium, it uses the dual screen, the hardware itself to sell its unique story. That's why the port was a letdown. I like all the changes and improvements. To be real here, I never played the DS version. I watched a let's play of it ages ago. That version was slow and you had to look up a guide to know what choices to make because there was no flowchart at the time. But holy shit, how they did the adventure mode and novel mode was really sloppy. What pissed me off the most was that they replaced the Sudoku puzzle with this bullshit. It's fucked up to say, but I really wanted to see a little girl crying desperately, calling out for help as I'm pushed beyond my limits to try to save her. Lucky for me, I already knew what would happen when I was playing this, so the original is preserved in my mind. You're probably asking yourself, how is this possible? If she died as a kid, then how does she become Zero? The answer lies within the quantum theory, Schrodinger's cat. A thought experiment where a cat is placed inside a box with a flask of poison. If somehow the cat triggers a mechanism that breaks the flask, it will kill it. If not, the cat survives. The thing is, everything we know is caused by observation. No one truly knows anything unless we can confirm it ourselves. It's impossible to dictate if the cat is either alive or dead unless you open the box. Till then, it's both alive and dead. That's who Akane is, the cat. Each time the player goes back and make a different choice, it's Akane trying to change the timeline where she survives. That's why she gets those spontaneous fevers. It's her being erased out of the timeline because you made the wrong choices. Through trial and error, Junpei can finally put the whole puzzle together across timelines to get the best possible outcome. The Nori game was made so the cat survives. They both solve the puzzle, and Akane gets to live and reunite with her brother and escape the gigantic. Junpei, well, it isn't working out for him. Of course he panics and then realizes that everyone needs to place their hand on the scanner.
Quick, verify your numbers on the red.
Verify?
Who?
What combination?
All of us! We all need to verify!
Why?
You really think this is a good time to ask questions? Just do it!
Oh my fucking god, you can feel the stress emanating from the situation. As they run up the stairs and open the door to their freedom, it's revealed that they were in the Nevada desert the whole time. Their bracelet fell off and took the SUV that Santa and Akane left for them. Seeing their fresh tire tracks, they're off to find the two. Besides the SUV, Ace is in the trunk all tied up. The reason he created the Nori game was so he can see faces. Having a disorder like that must suck really bad. And I understand he wants to actually see individual people, but holy shit. I don't think kidnapping and attempting to kill kids is justified. The trauma they suffered clearly came back to bite him. Junpei and Seven were disappointed that they never solved the mystery of the mummy Alice. Guess she never existed. Holy fuck, it's time for Virtue's last reward. Uchikoshi made 999 without the idea of a sequel in mind. Surprised that the reception and sales were doing well, he and his team said fuck it and went on to work on the next game. It was going to be different, not just aesthetically, but how it was written. You see, the game did do well in America. In its home country Japan, it flop. Apparently over there, dark visual novels that don't involve high schoolers or a dating system just isn't what they want. That's why you don't see teenagers in this series. I mean, Clover was 18 and to me that's a kid, but I really don't want to get into this fucking argument right now. From here on, the games are being written for the Western audience. What do they like? 3D graphics, skimpy outfits, voice acting, and gore. Lots and lots of gore. And I just found out that Axis localized this game. Yeah, I really wish they properly localized Central Fiction. I'm still not letting that one go. I know some of you are questioning the change in art direction and want to hear my thoughts on it. I promise you that once we get to Zero Time Dilemma, I'll give you my full thought. Just a heads up, the quality decreases. Waking up in the box room, you question where you are, and the first person you're introduced to is a white-haired girl. Her name is Pi, and your name is Sigma. Already you know these two are the most important characters because no shit. A buff handsome man who likes to crack jokes to lighten the mood is paired with a nonchalant baddie who can solve most problems while taking jabs at people at every opportunity she gets. Yes, both Uchikoshi and Kazutaka Kodaka are good friends and the best drinking buddies. I imagine one night they went out drinking and got blasted and came up with the idea of the 100-line Last Defense Academy. I haven't played that one and don't know if I'm going to because my opinion on Danganronpa has deteriorated over the years and I would have to play it again and look past the fact that I outgrown a cast that only consists of children I can't nor want to be able to relate to. The two of them are obviously confused, not just with the fact they're trapped in an elevator, but Fi seems to know Sigma's name even though they never met before.
Shut up! Just back off, Grandpa! Look, I just don't know, alright? It's just kind of there. Like, I looked at you, and some part of my brain just said, that's Sigma.
They look at the monitor and see an obnoxious rapper thing that calls himself Zero Jr., announcing that we're playing the Nornery game, Ampedex Edition! They need to solve the room's puzzles in order to leave, and holy shit, the fucking puzzles in this game are harder than bricks. Of course it's like 999, click everywhere and pick up items and put them in places while solving some math equations. Here, you have to examine the items and you can find secrets to them that will help you escape. Combining things, which I try every combination except that it's actually detrimental at times because mixing things are the puzzle. Once you find the solution, they give you a code that will open the safe to your freedom. So you think you can just look it up and save yourself the headache. Wrong. It's randomized every playthrough, so no cheating. Luckily they have an easy and hard mode and it's normally default to hard, so that means you gotta figure everything out yourself. The reward is that you find a gold file where you get extra lore, but I won't remember any of that. Easy mode is where the characters help you out and flat will give you the answers at times, which I always pick this mode, not only because I'm impatient, but I also want the characters I'm with to contribute, and it leads to some hilarious moments. Like when I'm trying to solve a fraction puzzle, I got Fi to get really angry at me and say, "God damn it, Sigma, I'm trying to help you out here, why can't you get it?" Even when they did give me the answers, I still couldn't figure out how they got it. The puzzles are not bad. In fact, they're good, just really challenging if you don't want to relearn the many things you learned back when you were in school and drop because they don't apply to your daily life. I'm a certified idiot. I'm not saying that to use as a shield whenever someone insults me. No, I am actually not academically intelligent, and that used to make me deeply insecure. It almost took me my whole life till now to come to terms with that. Now, whenever I see someone using their intelligence or achievements to brag or one-up someone, I just assume they're self-centered assholes who need validation because they're stuck in high school. The latch from the top has opened and Fi has the instinct to superhuman jump up there. Yeah, this game has really awkward animations that only last for a couple of seconds, but just enough to catch your attention and ask, what the hell was that? I also noticed that they brought back Kinu Nishimura to do some of the art for this game. It was distinct and captured the tone of a death game. Despite him doing a lot of the art for Capcom, I can only see 999, and again, the quality will only go down from here. So Fi helped you out when you were actually in a warehouse with 5 other elevator shafts lined up. There's 5 other survivors and of course they're all weird. Standing around the number 9 door, they're trying to figure out what to do next. One of the hatch to the elevator, or what is actually called the Ampedex room, opens. Jumping out is a Buddhist monk robot guy carrying Clover. Yeah, that one. She's back for thirds and is apparently a Flintstone now. Questioning the robot guy, he has amnesia because why not? Zero Jr. appears on the projector and he really does a good job on annoying you. He explains how the Nori game is played. Everyone has bracelets and they start with the number 3. Those are bracelet points, or just BP. The goal is to gain points and reach 9 or more points to open the door. They must use the elevators they came from to gain more points. First, they have to find keycards through the chromatic doors. The only way to get through it is by mixing the colors of a bracelet to match the door. The primary colors are red, blue, and green. Red and blue makes magenta, red and green makes yellow, blue and green makes cyan. We all thought it was called aqua at one point, but I mean it still is, you know. There's also other combinations, but I don't want to explain. There's pairs and solos. Pairs of the same colors will always go through the same door, while solos aren't tied to anyone but the pairs they decide to go with. Beyond the color door are secondary doors, and only 3 people are able to open them. There's a set amount of time before the door opens and looks like time is up. Anyone who breaks the rule or is left behind will be penalized. There's drugs inside the bracelet that will inject you with an anesthetic and then a muscle relaxant. Eventually, you will die a peaceful death. Before we are subjugated to that, we might as well take the time to know the cast. Sigma is our main man, a only college student who likes to make many jokes, including many sexual innuendos that get the girls to be really upset at him. He's a good man at heart. He's not afraid to stand up for himself and do what's right. Unless you go for the bad ending, but we'll get to that. You probably already noticed that he's the only one who doesn't have a voice. I mean, it makes sense. This is just a port version, and to my knowledge, it's only a port and nothing has changed. It's normal for BN protagonists to be silent, so it's not a big deal. Bai is the best character in the series. She loves fucking with people and giving assholes what they deserve. She's smart, cool, and have the best design. Tenmyoji is the grumpy old man who looks out for his grandson named Quirk. Unlike Tenmyoji, I won't really have much to say about the kid because he's going to have the least amount of screen time and won't contribute to anything, but it's puzzle solving. We all know Clover. As much as I like her back in 999, she's just a dumbass here, and there's a few moments that made me really hate her. I like returning faces, but it's like she learned nothing after the events of the last game. I'll talk more on it later. This Alice the mummy, we thought that was on the Titanic. Okay, I fucking hate her. First, what the fuck are you wearing? Why do you not have a top on? Have some goddamn decency. She is so childish. When things goes her way, she'll be like, hate the game, not the player. If not, she'll throw a tantrum and bitch to everyone. There's Luna, who's the nice one. Yeah, that's about it. My good boy, KK. He's always calm and that makes him the best rat around. Even if he escapes through the door, I actually believe he would come back to save everyone. The last one is Dio. He's an asshole. We have 3 options. Go through the door with Luna, Tenmyoji, or Alice. Each character has an ending. It doesn't really matter which order you go in, with the exception of 5. As long as you go through every route, it's straightforward. There's a flowchart and it makes things convenient. Some people had a problem with it back in 999 because it diminishes the theory crafting and the way of the story because timelines are a thing. I understand why people would be upset, but it personally doesn't bother me. I'm gonna go with whatever seems right to eventually the big reveal. For now, let's go with Luna. We ended up in the lounge and this is where we need to seek a way out. Like I said, I'm not going over any of the puzzles because they're genuinely good and why would I give you the answers to them? I haven't read all the files and I'm pretty sure we all just want the gist here. We find the keycards for the Ambidex route. Eventually, we meet up with the others. Finding other chromatic doors we need to wait for to open. Going back to the warehouse, Zero Jr. explains how we need to get more BP. The pairs go into the Ambidex room together while the solo goes into one by themselves. Sigma and Phi go into a room and find a dead old woman. Not only is there already a body, but this discovery will lead to characters become distrustful to one another. As we carry her to the infirmary for an autopsy, Tenmyoji doesn't even say a word and keep his distance like he knew her and is stricken with grief. Luna uses a machine called an Atom that gives detail and diagnosis, and it appears that the old woman was stabbed and murdered. Everyone gets suspicious and start to distrust each other. Who could be Zero? Who killed who? I'll tell you this game doesn't try to mislead you. You can only make one first impression, and if someone's an asshole, don't be surprised if they make the most selfish choices that only benefit them, or not even that. Don't do it for the thrill of it, you just gotta uncover the mystery. With barely any time left, everyone heads into their AB room and Zero Jr. explains the game. So the one who went into the puzzle room together will have to play against or with each other, pairs versus solos. You get two options, you can ally or betray. If you both ally, you both get 2 points. But if one betrays and the other ally, the one who betrays gets 3 points while the other loses 2. If both betrays, y'all get no points. If no one votes, it automatically chooses ally. The whole thing is basically the prisoner dilemma. Will you rat out your friend and serve less time in prison, or both of you rat each other out and serve even more time than you would if you both have said nothing? For me, the whole AB game is the best and most intense aspect of this game. You see, the characters aren't stuck with each other for only 9 hours, they spend more time together than that. So relationships have to be built, but that means they can also be torn down instantly. If someone gets 9 points, it's over. Time to vote. Vi demands us to choose betray because she doesn't want us to lose points. Sigma is always the one who's making the decisions. Questioning Vi on how she just knows things she shouldn't and acting like she's hiding information by saying things like, "It's over if we lose."
Ten seconds remain until Ambidex game polling closes. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
When your BP hits 0, you die. That's what I meant.
1.
Just before we vote, everyone is eager to see the results. Every time I see this, it makes my booty clench. Since we ally with Luna, it's all good between us. Can't say the same for the other team. So Zero Jr. explains that the door don't scan the person, just the bracelet. And if they want it off, they either have to go through the 9 door or die. Just like what Fi told us, if your BP hits 0, rip. Everyone bracelet color change, and some who will pair are either with someone else now or a solo. With all the rules explained, we won't be seeing Zero Jr. again, at least for now. No one is going to miss him. Seriously, he doesn't really show up again after this, and it's kinda disappointing because his entire existence to be a wacky setup and nothing more. Sigma explains that it was back in December 25, 2028. That was the day he was kidnapped. Girl broke up with him, heart breaks down, a college kid with no money and now forced to play a death game. What an unfortunate set of events for your man. You go around the facility and talk with the characters and found out about a deadly virus called Radical 6. It's spread throughout the world and has killed countless people, and it is assumed that we're in quarantine. But that doesn't make any sense because of the whole death game thing. K talks about his armor and how it feels natural to him. There's a keyhole on the back of his head. If you really think about it, this is the ultimate chastity belt. How is this guy going to use the bathroom? Well, it's time to go through the next door. Since we're paired with Alice now, we can go with Luna, K, or Clover. The problem is that you can only go with Luna or K. Reason is that some of the characters do not want to be paired up with others. Like Temioji does not want to go against K in the AB games because K chose Betray last time and might get him killed. Wanted to leave but refusing to have blood on his hands. K agrees with him. I hate it when games give you a false third choice like it's going to add anything. Out of fucking nowhere, Parks falls down to his knees and says some hardcore suicidal doomer shit. With no time, I choose to go with Luna. We enter a room full of robots called golems. We picked up the key card. There's also an odd looking key that we just don't know what it could be used for. I wonder what it will unlock. Right before we leave, one of the golem calls out to us to chat, and he doesn't have a beep boop bop voice. This fella has a British accent. This gentleman goes on and talk about AI and how golems are just like humans. If you ignore the skeleton, they have personality, accents, emotions, automatic functions like breathing, the ability to feel pain, and are able to wear realistic detailed skins right down to the very last pore. As the golem is given a lot of exposition on how they work, sadly this is the only time we will ever talk to him because he's been deactivated. Someone has opened an AB gate. We rush back to the warehouse and guess who's the jackass that opened the door and started the timer. Tenmyoji and Clover make it back in time, but not Quark because he's missing. As everyone is trying to look for him, Luna is in a panicked state and tells us to follow her because Alice is dead. Yeah, people are dying now. Unable to deduce who killed her, it is soon going to be voting time. We're going against Luna and obviously choose an ally. Betraying makes no sense since our points only add up to 8 and she loses 2. Getting you a bad ending. But finally Dio has to go against Kay. This is one of my favorite moments in the game. Fi only have 5 points while Dio and Kay have 6. The two play mind games with each other saying, "Don't worry man, I'll pick ally and we'll have a sleepover under my sheets." Fi is having none of that nonsense. She's like, "Kay, I can guarantee you that I will pick ally if you promise to pick it too." She uses the oldest trick in the book and tells Dio that someone is behind him, and then she dashes into the AB room. He tries to use another room but to no avail. After all that, Kay has to keep the end of his deal. At this point, once they finish the next set of doors and obtain the last key cards, they can play the AB game as many times as they want with the 45-minute wait. Everyone is looking for Quark, and as we do that, we pick up Alice's bracelet and run into Tenmyoji. He sprays our wrist with luminol to see if we have blood on our hands and confirm that we're not Zero. Well, whatever. I know events seems random, and now that I look at this game as a whole, it is, but it will all be explained. The next set of doors are white. That means there is no choice but to partner with the person who can get you that color. And guess who's that? Luna. You know, this is really not super relevant, but they just love using anagrams, and I'm so impressed that they can construct a complete sentence out of what they were given in less than a second. Maybe I'm missing something, but I question why it's even there in the first place. The only time I can see anagrams working is in the next game, and it's not even in the game itself. Just wait, it will get really stupid. Sigma and Phi found blood next to one of the AB rooms and discovered that it was moved by the crane. Where we found the old lady was in the room that Luna came out of. Now she's a prime suspect. The thing is that we were with her the whole time, so how could she move the crane? Asking her is impossible because she's dead. Luna was killed by a drug injection. Without any clues to work with, they had to move on. Realizing that Tenmyoji and Clover are not only absent, they are unable to go through the door without Quark. With no time left, in order for Dio to convince Kay they need to go, he pulls out the "I have a kid waiting for me at home, so if I die, they'll be alone." Like, what a fucking scumbag. Sigma and Phi refuses to leave the others behind. Kay says fuck it and knocks them both out and drags them through their door. After solving the puzzle room, they log on to the security computer to find who the killer is. Out of nowhere, Sigma vision starts to distort and everything he's processing is sped up. Nothing like a quick rest to solve every ailment. Checking the camera, they find that Clover and Luna were arguing and Clover was the one who ran away in a panic. Bitch killed her, alright? After what happened in the last game, I can't say I'm surprised. And then Dio walked in to have sex with the body or something. Why'd they Clover kill Luna then? She suspected that Luna was the one who killed the old woman, and then Alice because she was on the lead and then died. As Sigma and Phi goes to find the others, well, they did find their corpses. Quark bracelet is off, but nowhere in sight. They checked Clover's thigh and found that she wrote numbers on her thighs with blood. If you know Danganronpa, you know who killed these two. The luminol spray that Tenmyoji had with him is gone, and the only two who could have taken it are Dio and Kay. As we look for them, boom, they're dead. First root and there's bodies piling up left and right. Dio had the knife that Alice had in her hand, and the key we found earlier can open Kay's suit, but he needs to be alive. Then someone opened the AB room. Suspecting it's Quark, they went out to look for him and ended up in the director's office. They found a computer that requires an ID and password to access, but we don't know it. To be continued. Yeah, when I played this game, I followed the flowchart from left to right. They all ended with to be continued, like 999, you need answers from the other routes. What made this project so difficult to me is how I would explain it. I like talk about games and how I experienced them, but if I continuously abruptly leave a route on a cliffhanger, then go back to it, we will all be lost. I want to explain all this as cohesively as possible, even though I might set myself up for failure once we get to Zero Time Dilemma. My biggest issue with this game is that the beginning and end are good, but the middle is repetitive. You see the same characters dying the same way and have to find an answer from another timeline. All while look at the same dot moving around the map while opening every door. What I'm going to do is explain the character endings and slowly move on to the next one once we gather information that will progress that route. We'll come back to this one, but Fi ending's the true ending. We all know this now, but Dio's the bad guy. It's honestly refreshing that the asshole is the villain and not someone who's put on an act. Let's talk about his route. Going back to the first round against Luna, we picked Betray this time. It hurts watching Luna heartbreaking, but we gotta advance the story. This time, instead of pairing with Fi, it's with Alice, and our solo is Clover. Quark goes missing, Alice and Luna dies. Played this scenario 4 more times and I already covered 60% of the main story. It's gonna look like I'm skipping a lot, but I promise you that not much happened, so worth mentioning. Clover is distraught about Alice's death and it's getting to her. Dio just gets a thrill out of everyone's misery. He's not ashamed of showing it. Saying shit like, Quark may be a kid, but he can also be Zero and betray his own grandpa. Oh, your friend died? That means you can get 9 points without the guilt. Sigma convinces Clover to pick Ally with the intention to also pick Ally. Fi tells Sigma to pick Betray. She intends to leave with Dio and wants you to come along. That door only opens once, and if there's a time to take advantage of a depressed girl, this is the time. Dio rushes for the door as Fi stops him to make sure that we choose her answer. Clover could not believe what we did. Even if we explain that it is to ensure Fi's safety from the untrustworthy Dio, it still doesn't make the situation better. With very little time, the three must make their leave.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, shall we? Why so serious? This really isn't the time for hesitation. You both crossed a line you weren't supposed to cross. You betrayed your friends. Am I right? I'm right. But you didn't have a choice, did you? You had to survive. Isn't that the way an animal thinks, though? Don't get me wrong. I see the logic, but it's kind of animal logic. Still, you made your bed. Now you gotta lie in it. If you're gonna be an animal, be an animal. Own it. The losers, the weak, throw them away. That's how nature works, my friends. That's life at its most pure. You get me?
Hazmat suits are prepared for them. There's a partial difference between the facility and the outside so the deadly Radical 6 virus doesn't leak in. They step outside and found that they were in the desert the whole time, all while a blood lunar eclipse hangs above them. As Fi and Sigma are about to head out and look for help, Fi collapses and questions where they are. I'ma come out and say it. Fi, from another timeline, took over this one's body and is desperate to find Dio. The two split up and Fi finds Dio as Sigma rushes to her rescue right before he was about to crush her head with a rock. Dio was in the process of contacting someone and he has a long code we can't do anything with right now. But he might as well tell us who he is and who he's working for. He belongs to a group called the Myrmidons, also known as Free the Soul. It's a religious group that wants to build a new world out of the dying one, even if they have to use dirty tactics. The whole organization was founded by a man named Brother. Brother had a brother who was killed and that made him drown in despair and rage. To rid the world of greed and impurity, he needs more people like him. So he made a bunch of clones of his brothers and one of them was Dio. If everyone looked the same, then gender, racism, and prejudice would not be a thing. Of course, there's always more than that. Dio was made leader of the Myrmidons and had contact with women, so that deemed him corrupt. To prove his loyalty, he was sent on a mission to infiltrate the bunker. To do what? We'll find out. Fi is done playing around. She picks up the rock and threatens to break his helmet unless he gives her the bomb password. He tells her it and we better remember, so I wrote it down. Dio takes Sigma and Fi to a shelter and that's the end of this route. We went from breaking the timeline beyond reality to save a child to now there's a fanatic cult and tons of conspiracies. Wanna know why Clover is here? Me neither. Going through the door with Temiyoji this time, we betray him and of course he's pissed at us. But at this point, who the hell cares? Well, he does. Quirk is very sick. He has radical sex. He gets up with a scalpel in his hand and tries to take his own life. Everyone stops him and injects him with the anesthetic. We need to go through the chromatic doors, but Temiyoji trusts no one with Quirk, except for Clover. We don't know why yet, but Sigma carries Quirk and heads through the door. Yeah, you can see why Quirk isn't in the game that much. The kid is either missing or knocked out. You only go through one puzzle room with him while he's sane. We put him in the cryogenic pod so he can stay in deep sleep and not go crazy. We could betray him and get 9 BP, but not only we don't escape because everyone can leave, but if it's Sigma, he gets beat up. It's also wrong to take advantage of an unconscious child. Even Clover suggested to betray him, but Temiyoji said something to her to change her mind. While waiting for the next doors to open, the group is searching for a medicine called Exelavir. It's what cures radical sick. Being alone with Clover, we pressure her into telling us who she and Alice are. After showing her that we can be trusted, she explains that Alice and her are agents that works under the Department of Defense. They investigate terrorism, extreme religious group, all of that stuff. After the end of the last Nori game, the hitchhiking mummy was Alice, who was sent to investigate the building she was in. They were already after Akane and Santa, so they gave Alice a ride, but never ended up finding them. Clover and Snake made it home, but their mom got tired of the kidnapping and hired bodyguards for them. The two got sick of it and went to live on their own. Alice knocked on their door and asked them for their help and brought them to her headquarters. We're in there with the kids of the first Nori game. Alice states that a terrorist group is planning to cause a viral pandemic that would destroy the world and need the help of the Espers who can access the morphic genetic field. Clover refused the offer in order to live a normal life. Alice hits up Seven and convinces her to help out since Junpei is unavailable because he's searching for Akane. Clover and Snake joined the organization so they can both stop the terrorists. December 25th was the day to strike them, but both Alice and Clover were gassed and brought here. The first question is, why do Clover and Alice dress like that? In the hidden file I didn't read, it's so them being agents is less suspicious. I don't buy that, they just want an excuse to put eye candy in. Clover isn't a bad character, but she's a downgrade for the one we knew in 999. In that game, although she was depressed for half of it, it makes sense, you know, with Snake missing and all that. She was really smart and showed that even in your lowest moments, if you have hope, even a little, it can get you and those around you to keep going. In VLR, she's just here. I'm not even kidding. You'll see more in the end. She's ditzy, irrational. You would think she would learn by now despite this being her third Nori game, but she asks nothing.
Hey! What kind of a gentleman has a secret conversation in front of a lady? I guess it can't be helped though. You boys just secrete secrets. Oh man, I'm good.
Sigma, please, let me give her a smack.
At least she knows she's pretty. I don't dislike her, but as a returning character, she doesn't bring much to the table, if any at all. She also has the worst facial expressions, like her smile does not suit the intensity of most of the scenes. Clover remembers about a medication they found called Negostigmin. It counteracts the muscle relaxant in her bracelet, you know, the one that kills us. She runs off to tell Alice. Sigma runs after her and bumps into Fi, who looks really absent. She slowly points to the direction Clover went and Sigma gives chase. Spend the time not only looking for her, but for anyone else. Entering the infirmary, Sigma's heart stopped as he found everyone dead with blood scattered across the room. With no hope left and the only way to escape this nightmare, he picks up the bloody scalpel as if someone was guiding his hand towards his neck and he slits his own throat. That's pretty grim. Do you want to know what's under Kay's mask? Going back to the route where we allied with Luna, we decide to go with Kay for the second round, and in that puzzle room, you cannot unsee this. Even his eyes shows happiness. He's a bastard, but such a good boy. When we go to vote against him, he promised to pick Ally, but we know he's full of shit. Kay decides to explore with Sigma, and when they examine the body of the old lady, they notice that a part of her wrist isn't covered in blood, like someone took a watch off of her, like a bracelet. The two meet up with Fi and Dio and decide to check them, swearing the luminol on their wrist. Guess who has blood on theirs? The guy killed the old woman and the three locked him in one of the cryogenetic pods. Waiting for the white doors to open, Kay is slowly regaining his memories. He grew up in the facility with just him and his father, learning how to read and write. He realized that his situation wasn't normal, more like he was missing something. A mother. His father gave him a robot to play the part of a mother, but it wasn't what he wanted. He wants one made out of flesh and blood. When he grew up, for the first time he saw a human woman much older than him waiting outside his room. She was there to help out his father, but would take the time to tell Kay stories about her life and the adventures she had. She began to live with them, and Kay eventually started to know what it's like to have a mother. Years have passed, and the woman stated that she will die for their research. Kay couldn't believe it. Even his own life was part of the research project. If anything happened to his father, he would take over. Kay pleaded with her to leave, but she tells him that there was once a man who saved her life and wanted to marry him and lived a normal life with him. But to save the doomed world, she needed to make sure the project was a success. After that, that's when Kay lost his memories. Kay is exhausted and decides to take a nap. Running to Fi, you both try to look for the others but have no idea where they've gone. Going back to Kay to check on him still sleeping, you hear noises in the hallway. Trying to look for the source, they check up on Dio, only to find him suffocated to death. Someone expelled all the oxygen from his pod. With very little time left, they make their way to the white doors. With just the three of them, there's no way Fi and Kay could advance since Dio bracelet broke. Sigma refuses to leave them behind and have to think of a way to save them. Sigma doesn't know why, but he remembers that Neostigma is what counteracts the muscle relaxant. He goes off to retrieve it, and as soon as he makes it back, the door closes and the three of them are injected with the anesthetic. With only one dose, he decides to use it to save Fi. With the last of his strength, he needs answers from Kay. He was the one who killed Dio. While he was pretending to take a nap, he found the key to his armor and left it there so it looked like he was still sleeping. He went up to Dio's pod and removed all the oxygen. As soon as we found out about his death, Kay managed to avoid us, slipping back into his armor. Kay wanted revenge against Dio because he killed the old woman. She was the mother figure he was talking about. Kay's last words were telling Sigma to remember the password. Sigma removes his helmet and finds out that Kay has his face. Tenmyouji. Exactly what is his role here? From what we learned from 999, everyone had a part to play. Everyone had a direct connection to the first Nonary game. Junpei's only connection was Akane. Now we see an old man who's hiding secrets while making sure his grandson doesn't come in harm's way. Where does this old man fit into this puzzle? Going back to the first round, we go with Tenmyouji. When we vote ally, he picks Betray. His top priority is to make sure Quirk gets out of here. He's what he got left. And then the suicidal Quirk things happen, but don't worry, they found Xelivir this time, and now he gets to have more screen time with that weird ass hat of his. While we were solving the puzzle room, we found a memory card and played it. It was the beginning of the Radical 6 outbreak.
This is Control. I repeat, this is Control. Please come in. I'm asking you to respond.
This is...
Oh, thank God. You really had me worried there. What happened?
6 of us are... dead.
What?
Counting myself, there are only 3 left.
How? Why are...
They were killed.
What?
I guess you could say I killed them. No, that's not quite right. Not just them. Not just these 6. All of them. All 6 billion. Soon, I will have killed 6 billion people.
Are you there? Respond!
Hearing that message gave me chills. If you know why, it's haunting. Here's a picture of a cat. Even though Tenmyouji picked Betray last time, the odds are stacked against him this time, so we both pick Ally. Of course, Alice dies and Clover is going apeshit, even making threats like, "I will 1v6 all of you bastards!" To prove to her it wasn't a murder, we need to explain what Radical 6 actually is. Of course, we know it's a deadly virus. But what are the symptoms? First, it slows down your brain to a 1/6 of a second. So if 10 seconds have passed, your brain processes it as 4 seconds. To people who are infected by the virus, everything seems faster, but it's them who are slower. The most fatal aspect of the virus is the uncontrollable urge to end one's life. That's what Quirk tried to do and Alice beat them to it. How do Sigma know this though? In another timeline where Sigma, Clover, and Dio explored the laboratory where they found the Xelivir, there was a journal in Latin that only Fi could read. Sigma somehow knew the details and cleared the air. Heading into the next puzzle room with Tenmyoji and Quirk. This is one of my favorite rooms, but my god do I hate the optional puzzle. It scares me to think what I would do in a situation like this. I would cry, get angry, and then die. There's a face scanner that requires a woman for it to activate the device. It's weird how Sigma suggests they dress up Quirk and everyone is silent. Tenmyoji has an idea and pulls out a photo and places it on the scanner. He's carrying around a photo of a girl. Curious, we check out who it is. It's revealed it's a photo of his first and only love, Akane Kurashiki. Yes, this is Junpei Tenmyoji. He's been searching for her his whole life. When I first saw this, my jaw dropped to the floor and raised some questions. Why is he an old man while Clover is still young? There's a reason why he's here, and it's to find her. Funny enough, he forgets the photo in the room and Sigma heads back to the warehouse alone to inform the others. Noticing the two are taking a long time, Sigma went off to search for them. Entering the room they completed, they aren't there. What is though, is a hologram of an old man who created the Nonary game, Zero. He lectures us and compares humans to termites. Why do we do anything? Why do we love, create, build, live? Why is it in our nature? Is it to reach an impossible dimension of existence beyond our own? Who knows? He does give us the password to one of the other bombs that was mentioned earlier, although we can't tell anyone what we just learned or saw or else the lights out. It's time to vote. Tenmyoji and Quirk already has a BP, so they'll pick Ally. It makes no difference to them, promising that they will not open the number 9 door. So we pick Ally and they choose Betray. This isn't the first time we've seen Junpei being deceptive. Clover opens the 9 door and the 3 of them leave. Not before Quirk hands us a letter. It's about his grandpa. It was a dark and stormy night. Baby cries out and an old man hears it and takes him in. Tenmyoji didn't know what he was doing, but raised the child like he was his own. It was always just the 2 of them with some ups and downs. No matter what, even when Quirk questioned his own existence, was he only there to help out an old man? Why doesn't he have a mom? It doesn't matter, because the 2 will always love each other. This is basically both Tenmyoji and Quirk's ending. I mean, he has his own ending, but it's really unsatisfying. What I like about this game more than 999 is that I care about the characters more. Not only because we get to spend more time with them in a 36-hour game, but they manage to give them more character. I want to degrade the first cast by calling them tools for the story, but when you understand where VLR characters are coming from, you get more emotionally invested, including the ones you hate or don't add much. Talk about characters I hate, Alice. Outside of her tits, she's an annoying brat. In the first vote, we ally with her, but she picks Betray. She's like, it's a calculated plan, and anyone who would trust a stranger is a complete idiot. I'm so smart. This is the crazy thing about this game. After what she did, you want to betray her so you can save your own skin, but if you do that, she actually picks Ally that time. She'll be whining and bitching, but how this game subverts your expectation is unexpected. Even Sigma claims that the last time she chose Betray, so why is it different now? We know timelines are a thing, and we use information we couldn't have known, but why are the results different? To be honest, I'm not so sure of this paradox myself, but it's basically that if you make a different action than the one you made before, the other person will intuitively do the same thing. It's a fixed timeline, and no matter what you do, the results will never be in everyone's favor. So you know how I keep bringing up those bombs? Guess what? They found one of them, and there's many more to come. These aren't like C4 explosive, these ones are as strong as a nuke. Leaving them alone right now because we can't do anything about it. Quirk has his episode and so do Alice. This time she doesn't die, but we only have one vial of Exelavir. It's either Quirk or Alice. Well, thanks to us exploring the other timeline, there's a replicator that will make a duplicate of the vial. Giving them both the cure, we have to go vote now. Phi is against Dio. We know how that will go. Clover is against K. They both have 6 BP, so only one have to fuck up. Sigma is against Alice. She's still knocked out and we only have 1 point left. Gotta bring up those numbers and pick Betray. I was flabbergasted. She managed to wake up early thanks to her agent training. Yeah, we choose Betray, but we only have 1 point left. If we choose Ally, we would have died. She has the audacity to try to play the victim card. We saved your life and you were willing to kill us and claim it as self-defense. Sigma was not the only one who was about to die. The other teams are also fighting about this too. It's Betray across the board. Trust is very delicate. It takes years to build up and only seconds to break. We find a memory card and plug it into the monitor and it shows all these letters. It's an encoded message, but without the key, we can't do much with it. We try to press Alice about who she and Clover are, but she's reluctant. Convince her that we spent the most time with her and we're her friend. She finally opens up. She acknowledges that she's selfish. Being kidnapped and forced to play a game where bombs could blow up any minute while infected with the deadly virus, she sorrowfully admits that she was willing to kill us if it means she can escape. As much shit as I give her, I can't blame her. I just wish she wasn't such a big hypocrite. She tells us about her past, like her father being a scientist and was kidnapped by the Myrmidons, spent years studying and eventually joined the Department of Defense to find him. She had leads that the group was in the Nevada desert and headed there. Her car breaks down and see an SUV driving her way. Yeah, it's the original cast. Now she's back to square one. After some time, she eventually sees her father again, but at a morgue, promising herself that she will avenge him. Figuring out how we should decipher the encoded message, Sigma remembers the code he got from Dio when they escaped. He tells the string of numbers to Alice and she does some inhuman math with multiplication and prime numbers. I'm not kidding, I actually looked this up and people like this actually exist. I am so glad I overcame my insecurities with my dumb ass. Solving puzzles on my own makes me feel so proud of myself. Now to confront Dio, the leader of the Myrmidons. Sigma could have ratted him out, but he decided to lead him on, tell him about Free the Soul and how Brother sent Sigma on a mission to judge Dio quality as the leader of the Myrmidons. It clearly gets under his skin, so much so he pulls out the detonator. The guy planted 4 bombs. I don't know where he kept them, but they're scattered throughout the facility. Alice and Clover rush him and threw the detonator at us. It's all futile because it begins to count down if it's a certain distance away from him. Desperate to stop the bombs, Alice tries to force Dio to talk, but he managed to swallow a cyanide pill he had in his pocket. With his dying breath, he left us with the generosity of a bomb code. Doing all they can, it's only a fruitless effort. Going back to betraying Alice, listen, you know the deal with Radical 6. We stop her from killing herself by ripping the scalpel away from her, even if our hands throbbing from the cut she gave us. We're voting against Clover this time, but something is off. Luna questions Sigma's hand. There's white liquid spilling from the cut. Okay, without context, this looks really bad, giving me Evangelion flashbacks. It really messes with Sigma's head and questions what is wrong with him. He chooses Ally, but the results are the least of his concerns. After everyone goes on their way, Luna has a private conversation with us. She shows the mini birdcage around her neck that's actually a music box. She opens up about her sad life of solitude, and the music box was given to her by someone special. Bringing up the story Titil and Mito, which was originally a play. It's about 2 siblings who go on an adventure to all sorts of places to seek the blue bird happiness that can grant any wish. In the end, they couldn't find the bird until they return home. And there it is, the blue bird is waiting for them in the cage. The theme being, happiness is closer than you think, but the twist is, when they fed it, it flew away. Nothing lasts forever, and just when you think you have it, it's gone the next day. You know, after all this time, I barely bring up Luna because she's either trying to be everyone's guardian angel or dead. It's nice to know that she's getting some screen time now. Like how she questioned how we know the location Alice would be in to prevent her death. How we know things we couldn't. Even question if Sigma's a robot, which would explain the jizz on his hand. Bai walks in and shows us the bomb that's in the room. Trying to figure out who we know it's Dio. We expose his bitch ass and he threatens to blow us up. Tenmyoji stands his ground and tells him to push the button if he has the balls. He knocks the detonator from his hand, but the failsafe activates. Dio, being the cocky asshole he is, gives us the password to one of the bombs. He tries to end himself, we stop him. Damn, what a savage. Everyone is searching for the bombs and input device. Sigma head back to the infirmary and there's Luna. Waiting. She offers to use the scanner to really see if we're actually a robot or not. I mean, we're all going to die anyway, so sure. Turns out, Sigma is human, but his arms are machine. It doesn't make any sense since he always remembers having actual arms and never ever replacing them. Luna knows way more than she lets on. With only 1 minute left before our impending doom, she tells us in a very calm voice the password for the screen with the 2-headed lion devouring the sun. Before we get to Luna's ending, we gotta talk about Quark's ending. It's the worst one, but it gives us one of the most important reveals. You, Dio, and Clover find the auxiliary in the laboratory, but Dio, being Dio, snatches away from you and forces you into a dilemma. If you vote ally next round, he'll give you the auxiliary so you can save Quark. If not, he breaks it. Even though Sigma only got 1 BP left, letting Child die will not sit right with him. He votes ally and then the anesthesia is injected into him. Both Dio and Kay gets ready to leave, but Sigma is like, go call for help, Kay. But Dio, get your ass over here. Sigma launches himself and grabs his ankle. Dio struggles to get past the door. As soon as he does, Sigma lets go and claims that he's going to live, all thanks to his cybernetic arms. The door crushes his hand and the bracelet. Waking up in the infirmary, everyone wonders what they're going to do now. Repopulate the Earth? Sigma really likes that idea. Temiyoshi brings up the old lady and Fi decides to search the body. Inside her sleeve is her ID with the name Kurashiki. Yeah, this is Akane. For further proof, on the back is a password that says Jumpy Doll, the nickname she gave to Junpei when they were kids. That explains why Temiyoshi fell dead when he discovered her death. Oh yeah, then Alice kills herself for the 9th time. Remember all the way back in the first route where we went through all the doors with Luna and then everyone dies and we gotta enter the password on the computer? We finally come back to this one and are able to enter the password Kay and Luna gave to us in the other timelines. You think the game can't offer any more surprises, but you are dead wrong. I bet you didn't know Luna was a robot this whole time. Both Sigma and Fi question why she was even put in this game. He also knows that she's still operational. Even her body is missing. As the two rush into the AB room and start the vote, they see her. When I saw this, it actually gave me chills. The two panic. Fi demands that we pick Betray, assuming Luna will also pick it to keep us here. But if you think about it, it's not possible. Isaac Asimov 3 laws of robotic. First law. A robot may not harm a human being or through inaction allow them to come into harm. Second law, a robot must obey the orders of a human unless it conflicts with the first law. Third law, a robot must protect its own existence unless it conflicts with the first or second law. Throughout the whole game, Luna never picks Betray. It's not who she is, especially if you know who she's based off of. Sigma and Fi eventually find Quark sleeping in the pod. They make their way to the number 9 door. As they're about to leave, Sigma hands Quark to Fi and tell her to go. So many questions are left unanswered. Sigma enters the garden. Waiting for him is Luna. She knows his consciousness has been traveling through different timelines, and in this one, this is the first time they're interacting here. As we can all guess, Luna didn't kill anyone. I mean, so many crazy reveals have happened and I don't think anyone will remember the specifics unless you did the other routes first, but personally, Luna route is the best one to start with, mainly due to it all tying together. To speedrun what happened, Dio killed Akane, Dio handcuffed Clover and Temiyoshi to the sink, and when we went through the chromatic doors, they were injected and died. For some reason, she tried to write Dio's name on her thigh, but she used a lowercase d. Kay sprayed Lumina on Dio's wrist, and as soon as Kay turned his back on him, Dio grabbed an axe and drove it into Kay's back. Which really makes no goddamn sense how he was able to pierce his armor, especially with the reveal later. But whatever. With the last of his strength, Kay grabbed a lance and stuck Dio into the wall. Dio originally wasn't part of this game. He snuck in, or rather let in, so he could sabotage Zero's project. Luna couldn't really do anything about all that was transpiring since she was not only shut down, she was ordered by Akane to help guide the players and let Dio kill one of the participants and let him do him. Wait, why did Clover kill Luna? Because she suspected Luna of killing Alice and some other contrived stuff. They had a fight and Clover accidentally injected her with tubercularine. Of course, Luna was a robot, so that didn't affect her, but she had to act like a human, so her body had to be shut down. Nice move, Clover. Your way of interrogation killed someone. After all that, everything else happened. Besides Fi route, this one is the best, since not only requires the information of the other routes to give some context, but gives some characterization to Luna, who trope is being the nice lady who wants everyone to be safe. That's why picking her route not only guarantees you BP, but her loss feels the most impactful since you will warm up to her the quickest. She wraps her arms around you and buries her face into your chest. Due to the tubercularine, her body begins to fall apart. Right after saying goodbye, she calls you Doctor. Now onto the final route. Of course the gang finds the bomb but don't know what to do with them, so they go on their merry way. This time we're paired with Luna and the Soulless Phi. At this point we all know what happened with Alice, Quirk, and the other stuff going on. Now we have to vote against Phi. Clearly Sigma and Phi trust each other the most and have the best chemistry. Obviously you would pick Ally, but what would happen if you betray her? Well, she gets really pissed, to the point of speaking Latin.
That was not a smart move, Sigma. I won't forget this. I'll make sure you pay, even if it's the last thing I do. Elapsum semel occasionum, non ipse potest Jupiter reprehendere. A Latin proverb. Not even Jupiter can find a lost opportunity.
With 9 BP, Sigma cannot be free to walk away, so they knocked him out. Okay, let's pick Ally this time. Surprise, surprise, she picks Betray as payback for what you did to her. With 9 BP, she plans to leave. Sigma repeats the proverb. Elasium semel occasionum, non pes potest, la Jupiter rapahundere. Not even Jupiter can find a lost opportunity. I've always wanted to say that. Phi stops dead in her tracks. With so many unanswered questions, Phi prematurely leaving before beating the game would not satisfy her, so she chooses to stay. Now the two are trying to figure out the question you all probably had in your mind the entire time. How do Sigma and Phi know things they shouldn't and their consciousness is traveling to other routes? Ever heard of multiverse theory? You know, the plot device that ruins all stake and diminishes any meaningful story? Here, it's not exactly like that. They ain't doing some MCU bullshit. It's more like timelines. What if you did this instead of that scenario? You know, what you've been seeing throughout the entire game, truthfully what you always thought about your whole life? I wonder how things would be different if I hadn't caught the AIDS. Everyone gathered at the infirmary to discuss the bombs they have found. Not only that, but the deactivation device. Phi is going to find out who set the bomb, but there's no need. Sigma points out who did it. It was a matter of when, not if. They knock Dio out and Phi orders everyone to go to the warehouse while her and Sigma deactivate the bombs. Remember the bomb codes we've been collecting between timelines? This is where you use them. You either remember them by heart, wrote it down, or looked it up. All 4 of the bombs are no longer active. You know what that means? The last set of chromatic doors. This empty white room, in my opinion, is the best room in the series. You have to, I guess, find the puzzles from the walls, and they're the one you've already completed in the other timelines. It's really relevant to the story. Completing the room, they find 2 valves of Excelivir for Quirk and Alice. Finally, we're done with that plot line. Right before the 3 leave the room, a device behind them turns on and requires an ID and password. Akane holograms appears before us. She explains that the Nori game is essential for the AB project, which is to transfer consciousness through timelines, like the morphogenetic field theory. Sigma and Phi has seen timelines that gave them the information they needed to be where they are now. Many years ago, Tenmyoji experienced the same thing to save a little girl, a memory that would be impossible to forget. Before the call ends, she said that they will meet again and more will be revealed. Tenmyoji falls to his knees and cries.
Wait! Akane, wait!
Oh, Tenmyoji. I can almost see you. You don't need to worry. Everything is going to be okay. I will see you again one day. I promise. But I'm going to have to ask you to wait just a little longer.
Wait! Akane!
Everyone heads back and gives the elevator to both Quark and Alice. It's time to vote, but Phi and Sigma noticed something. In this timeline, they never found Akane's body. That's because she wasn't murdered. Remember Schrodinger's cat? Is it alive or is it dead? Both Phi and Sigma jumped to the past before the Normandy game started. We need to stop Dio from killing Akane. My first instinct was to do the puzzle again, but Phi says that we already have the password and time is ticking. Can't believe I forgot that. She drop kicks the shit out of Dio and gets him to spread his ass cheek for some non-consensual penetration. Akane is like, thanks. Let me tell you the rest of the story. The whole AB project was made for Sigma and Phi because they're espers, or what they call it, shifters, jumping between timelines and change the past, present, and future. Injected with Radical 6, facing numerous death and solving puzzles were all part of the plan to strengthen Sigma and Phi's power so when they jump to different timelines, they can do it willingly and keep their memories. It's way more complicated than that, but that's what you need to know. But why do all of this? She'll tell us later. Akane give us a key and we head back to the present. The two were knocked out for a couple of hours and everyone played the AB game to the point where we could all escape. Except for Dio, his gaping ass can stay behind. Finally making it out, everyone is staring at the total lunar eclipse until Tenmyouji tells everyone the truth. That's not the moon, that's Earth. The whole time, we were on the moon. But should everything be affected by the moon having less gravity? Why, yes. Because Radical 6 slows down our brain by 1/6 of a second. So everything looks normal, in actuality, we process things slower. It also explains why you see Phi jumping through the air so effortlessly. It is also revealed that the year isn't 2028. It's 2074, and the world is red because the virus has spread and people start activating nuclear warheads and blow up annihilation reactors that cause explosions bigger than Hiroshima, hoping it can kill the virus. But it was the end of the world. Even if life was starting to manifest again, it's so slow that it would take centuries to rebuild what was destroyed. Everyone heads back to the moon base. Sigma Phi knows where Akane is. They head into the garden and Sigma insert the key Akane gave to him into the keyhole of a grave. A pot rises from the ground. As we wait for it to open, Kay remembers everything and explains the purpose of the AB project and everyone's role in it. Sigma and Phi have to strengthen the shifting ability so they can be sent back 45 years into the past and stop the Radical 6 virus pandemic. Alice and Clover were kidnapped and placed into cryogenic pods 45 years ago and slept the whole time. Clover was an Esper. In the presence of other Espers, their abilities get stronger. Basically a battery for Sigma and Phi. Alice was just brought here to do some math. That's it. Tenmyouji was also an Esper and he volunteered to go because he was promised that Akane would be here. Quark just tagged along. He was sent by Brother to stop the AB project so they wouldn't be able to stop the spread of Radical 6. After playing ZTT, I'm already checked out. They opened the pod and inside is K, the clone of Sigma. But if he's here, who's inside the armor? It's Akane! In the other timelines, K, or his real name, Kyle, is wearing the armor. Here, it's her. Oddly, no one recognized him. Sigma tells everyone to stop joking around, but the truth is, only your consciousness can travel through time, past or future. Since Sigma from 45 years ago jumped into this body, he's actually 67. The game does hint at this. Sometimes the characters flat out say it. That's why he doesn't have a voice. People who read visual novels are used to protagonists not speaking. No one would suspect anything. The thing that bothers me is that he never questions his hair brushing against the side of his face or even scratching his eye once. Sigma future is to be 0. He will spend the rest of his life carrying the AB project to prevent Radical 6. But if anything happens to him, his clone, Kyle, will take over. Akane explains the plan of what's going to happen. To make it simple, Sigma would be sent back to the day the reactors blow up and work on the AB project for the next 45 years, while the 67-year-old Sigma goes back before the spread of the virus to stop it. But in order to jump, one's life must be put in grave danger. Akane pulls out a knife to stab Phi, but Sigma jumps in the way and takes the blow. We go all the way back before the series decides to use 3D models and uses that classic ass art style. Pissed that Akane killed you, but she uses the butt of the knife, so you're good. Sigma and Phi were successfully brought back to the past and now she's in cryogenic sleep while you will be mastering genetic engineering and AI programming. 45 years later, you'll be forced out of your body and placed into a younger version of yourself at the Mars mission test site. There, Sigma will sacrifice his arm and eye to save a woman. The final shot is a mushroom cloud that was caused by the reactor. The lives of not only billions, but humankind is in your hands. Sigma will do everything to succeed. Virtual Last Reward makes use of suspense and questions, utilizing branches to answer questions that will all eventually interconnect at the end. Characters you grow attached to or you hate because they're funny or straight up annoying. But as much as I do like the highs of this game, the lows are bad. Repetition is the biggest enemy. How many times do I have to watch this bitch die and complain? Why are you even here? I already saw this and you're treating it like it's a new text of dialogue. You're just saying it differently. All three structures of a story are important. A beginning should hook you in and captivate you. The middle should keep your interest and allow you to look forward to a reward. The end should conclude everything and make your investment not feel like a waste of time. This game only got 2 of that right. While jumping between timelines to find an answer was cool, I got tired of puzzles and characters reading from the same script. Overall, I still like this game. Now for the final one in the trilogy, and oh boy is that one a mess. As you can probably predict, the series is still niche. It grew a huge following over the years, but not enough to meet sale goals. I couldn't find the data for both games, but hearing that the third game would be on an indefinite hiatus already paints the picture. We all know that almost means never. Fans could not accept it. You don't make a follow-up game of the masterpiece that was 999, revolve around being the setup to the finale, tease us with a dreadful ending like that, and not give us the conclusion we want. Commence Operation Bluebird. Fans showed that Uchikoshi that the series was loved. Fan art, memes, theories, cosplays, petition will eventually get the attention of Axis to finally fund the game Uchikoshi was deeply passionate about. Not only did he want to tell his stories, he think we deserved it. This is what every fanbase should strive to be. I know it's the loud minority that ruins any fanbase, but if you truly care about something, you would support it in any way you can and show them how much it means to you. And not be an entitled asshole who goes around annoying people just because they think differently than you. I want to make this clear right now. I enjoyed the game, I like the ideas, sometimes I like the story and concept they put into practice. I think it's overall more entertaining than VLR. But holy shit do it flop in a lot of places. For starters, it's a whole different genre. 999 VLR was text heavy and had a lot of narration because it was a visual novel. You were supposed to read not only the protagonist's thoughts, but the graphic details that can stick with you more than the visuals can. Here, they got rid of that completely and went with something the West was leaning towards. Cinematic movie-like games. Although they do have their place.
You fuck young boys, Valdez. Are you a madman?
It removes the identity of the series. I wouldn't have minded so much if the game had a budget, because holy shit does it not look good. The in-game art style is okay, but it's nothing like the official promotional art. That looks grim and dark and would have fit so much better. But nah, we have these silly ass animations. They move so awkwardly and stiffly, it leads to the funniest moments I have ever witnessed in any media. How they move, the goofy faces, the amount of low-angle shots of them running, carried by serious voice acting that's ruined by dumbass writing that can make this profound game into a joke. That can ruin anyone's perception of this game. That's why it's the most divided. You're either okay with it or unsatisfied. I'm in the latter, but let's see what's up. The year is 2028 before the spread of Radical 6. 9 people are locked behind cells. 4 of them are familiar faces. Junpei, who's really edgy now. Akane, who's held back by the writing in this game. Sigma is packing 12 inches. Bai is still the best. Maybe she has competition. Think about it, she doesn't get that much screen time compared to the others. Newcomer is a kid named Q, who's a Yoko Taro fan. Eric, the guy you should feel bad for but end up bullying. Mira, the bitch you grew up with and have to tolerate. Diana, a really sweet woman who, to me, I feel the most bad for whenever something tragic happens to her. And then there's Carlos, a goddamn firefighter who will do anything to make it back to his sick sister. This guy probably is the best character in the series. He's tied with Bai and Sigma for me. Carlos is unintentionally the funniest fucking character ever. Like, he's not comic relief, but the game direction with him make him look and sound so fucking stupid. You're supposed to take it seriously, but I just can't stop laughing. Just wait until you see the scenes you with him. Everyone has signed up for the Mars mission test site or decon for their own personal reason. This was supposed to be an experiment to simulate what and how people can inhabit Mars, but now they're faced with the man in the Plague Doctor mask who calls himself Zero. He constantly talks about how unfair life is, like how a snow made the world go extinct. He will let everyone go if Carlos guesses red or blue from a coin flip. It doesn't matter what you pick because it will always be the right one. Everyone is put to sleep and then awakens outside with no memories. And that's the first ending we get. Of course, if you go back and pick the other choice, it's time to play the decision game. Each person is split up into 3 teams. You're not going to see a lot of character interaction outside of the team. A part of me don't like that, but with the 3 character only dynamic, it's easier to be more focused. C team is Carlos, Junpei, and Akane. I see it as a sick rom-com. Junpei loves Akane, but he changed so much, she wants to bring out the good guy again. Carlos is the third wheel, which is strangely appropriate. Q team is Q, Eric, and Mira. This is my least favorite team, and I dread whenever I have to play them. Q himself is fine. I feel bad for him because he never asked to be here and he constantly getting shit on by Eric. I understand he's scared and his whole character revolves around his PTSD, but him treating Q like a monster and constantly complaining really gets to me in the worst possible way. Don't help that his delusional ass think he and Mira are in a relationship. She's one of the worst characters in the series, but she's really captivating because of it. But not in the good way, I'll explain later. The fan favorite, and obviously my favorite, D team. Diana, Sigma, and Phi. Uchikoshi wrote this team personally. This game at BLR had co-writers to help out with the scenarios. He gave the other writers an outline on what he wants and where they should end up. Eventually it all comes together and the styles don't feel that different, despite each team having their own set of themes. I gotta mention, I really like the character design. They went for a more realistic approach instead of making them outlandishly animated to make them memorable. I like BLR by design more, but here she looks refined and something about her pants, overalls, look good on her. You expect me to complain about Mira, but nah, this is perfect. She's a seductive slut that lures in men and play with their heart. Come on guys, you all know I like them titties. I just don't want to introduce shameless stuff to my friends and family. That's a lie. They know I rub one out as soon as I see an attractive character. By the way, I wish Junpei kept his jacket, but budget cut I guess. Trapped in a bomb shelter 50 feet underground, each team is placed in 3 different wards. They have bracelets that are attached to their wrists, and every 90 minutes, they are injected with drugs that put them to sleep and erase their memories. The goal is to not die, and wait for 6 other people to be deceased. For each death, you'll gain a password to unlock the X door and get out of this hellhole, but it can only be opened once. If you want to immediately kill all 3 people, vote. Whichever team gets the most vote dies. Akane suggests that we spread the vote so it can be a tie where no one gets killed. I really hope this is no one's first game in the trilogy. It is not kind to newcomers, and it is made with those who played the previous 2 games in mind. If you don't understand morphic genetic fields or jumping, then you'll have a hard time following what everyone is saying. How would they communicate the message to everyone? Hey look, it's the doggy, Gab! He's the dog, I think. They really didn't know how to animate a 4-legged animal. The vent connects to the other wards. The idea is to send a message to the other team by getting Gab to deliver the letter to the others with his medicine case. Q team got the message and then eventually D team. The deadline is soon and everyone gets ready to vote. Junpei suggests that we vote for Q team and get them killed so we can have 3 passwords already. This game takes place 1 year after 999. How did Junpei went from being a hero to actually saying some horrendous shit? He always wanted to stay by Akane's side and make sure she's safe. I mean, he still does, but they're always bickering. Mira suggests to protect their own skin. They vote for D team and get them killed. Phi is like, C team might actually end up voting for Q team, so we should vote for C team instead. Now with all 3 teams, you gotta make a decision. We get to the biggest gameplay aspect, the decisions. There's puzzles, don't worry, I'll get to them soon. For the most part, I don't like it. There's decisions where you get to choose the morally right or wrong choice. There's always that one person on each side of the decision to pressure you to do something or not. My problem with it is that a lot of the choices mostly leads to dead ends. Some actually tie in with the other timelines, but why are they there in the first place? Oh, I know, because it's the goriest game in the series. Characters you've grown attached to or have already been attached to gets brutal death. Heads are getting blown off, and blood and guts are spilling everywhere. I'm supposed to enjoy that? Yeah, we see character corpses on top of a pool of their own blood, and the descriptions in 999 are very graphic, but here, it's like they enjoy making these characters suffer for no reason. It happens so much you become numb to it, and start making all the wrong choices just so you can say you 100%ed the game. Sure, I like death games, and watching who survives and dies is always fun, even if the characters don't deserve it, but here, there's so much unwarranted suffering to people who didn't do anything. I mean, with the exception of one, but it really diminishes the ending for me. The other thing that makes this game so hard for me to talk about is the structure. Let's get them all killed. You already know timelines and different histories are going to be what this game is going to be based around. I mean, it was for the last 2 games. So let's go balls to the walls and make it convoluted as shit. I'm gonna try to make it make sense, because the game lets you pick whatever scenario you want, which is cool and gets you to question what happened to cause the death of the others, but explaining this is going to cause a lot of confusion. Therefore, I'll try to go in chronological order. I think, I don't know. I'll follow the Steam forum and the full movie I found. If everyone follows the plan, it will be a tie, and they will wake up in the shower room. There's a yellow button. If one of the team push it, it will shower the other teams in hydrofluoric acid and melt their bodies to nothing more than a pile of meat, giving them an excruciating death. Depending on what team you're controlling, you get to choose to push it or not. At the end of the game, we'll come back to not pushing it, but let's kill each other. Again. C team put in the 6 passwords and the X door opens. Everyone goes through the X door but Carlos, another version of him, jump into his body and says that he promises to save Junpei and Akane from a different timeline. The door closes and he goes off to do just that.
Just hang on. I'm going to go save you now.
Oh my god, I can't believe we're already doing this. Just before Q Team was about to leave, they almost forgot someone. They see Gab chained up and they try to free him. They have a discussion about the Sleeping Beauty paradox. Of course, what would the series be without its tangents, just to make you feel a little bit smarter than before? The paradox is that a subject wakes up on Sunday and has to choose heads or tails. If heads, they're asked a question and then put back to sleep. That's it. If it's tails, the same thing happens, but the memories of the question they're asked is erased. They're asked the same question on Tuesday. What's the probability that it was heads? 50-50 sounds correct, but the thing is, if it's heads, it's Monday. Tails, Monday. Tails, Tuesday. Now it's a 1 in 3 chance. If your memories are constantly being erased and you keep waking up on Tuesday, how do you know if you ever landed on heads? Judging from the context from past games, when characters go on these information dump, it's relevant to the story. Unable to do anything, they have no choice but to leave. As Eric and Mira leaves, Q decides to stay. He has no memories of anything and there's nothing out there for him. DT makes no sense to me. As Diana breaks down from the guilt of killing the other teams, she claims that she wasn't in control of her body. Phi just sums up to alien hand syndrome. As they were about to leave, Diana just runs back into the bunker and Zero just claims it to be multiple personality disorder. That's it. We don't come back here and there's many dead ends. I'm not going over all the wrong choices unless they're relevant to the main plot. C-Team wakes up in the room and Zero greets them with the story. 17 years ago, a woman was killed and the man was arrested and tried. He was found guilty and the man's wife took her own life and left 2 children behind. Years later, a DNA test proved that he didn't do it. Life is simply unfair. Zero does this a lot. Tells a story that seems unrelated, but as we know by now, it has to be. It all connects. But the story he tells are parallel to the situation we are in now. The 6 of us are poisoned and we gotta solve the puzzle room and find the antidote. Now, we get to talk about the puzzle rooms. They're just fucking awful. There's some cool ones like the rec room puzzle, but my main issue with them is that they're inconsistent. Some of them are really short and boring, some drag out for way too long. Most of the puzzles are just way too complex. I'm an idiot, so I can be stuck for a while, but it's really frustrating that your partners don't really help much. In VLR, you can set it to easy mode and sometimes they'll straight up give you the answers. Here, they barely contribute to anything. I don't want to go in depth about the puzzles in this game, solely because how irrelevant they are, back then, they had purpose, whether to access the morphic genetic field or to strengthen one jumping ability. When you get close to the endgame, they sure up ditch it all and make you pick meaningless choices and watch a movie. It is so sad that another aspect of the series' identity was compromised for this questionable entry. After solving the room, they must figure out which of the case contains the real antidote. They only have 5 minutes to decide, and the only hint they get is the sample they lick make the tip of the tongue numb. Akane assigns them all the samples they should lick. I really actually like this puzzle. Not only does it make you think, but if you fail, you get a different cutscene with a different answer. I really wish the game did more of this. In fact, they only do this for C Team. There's 3 extra vials, and Akane realizes that D Team are in danger. She gets Gab to send the vials to them. As they sit around, Carlos has a vision of Junpei getting dismembered, and turns out that was a different timeline. Carlos is beginning to tap into the morphic genetic field, and oh boy, would that be a treat. Diana and Sigma wakes up and find Phi inside the incinerator, and there's only 30 minutes before it activates. As the two try to find a way to free Phi, they push a button to reveal a suspicious chair that Sigma not only thinks it's okay to sit in, but to align his arm and head to cuffs. Diana finds a revolver and sticks the end of the barrel into a hole and get it to aim at Sigma's head. Zero tells us another story about how a snail is the cause of death to 6 billion people. Seriously, remember the snail because it's what started the Radical 6 pandemic. Sigma has to play Russian roulette to unlock the door to the incinerator. It will open whether it's alive or a blank. Diana will have to pull the trigger. It's either one of them die or both of them live. You shoot the round and it turns out to be a live one. In Phi's grief, she blames Diana for what she did. Unable to handle the guilt, Diana picks up the gun and kills herself with it. If you don't fire, Sigma begs Zero to free Phi, but she's okay with this outcome.
Zero! Zero! You can hear me, right? I don't care what happens to me! So please, save Phi! Just save Phi!
That's all I needed to hear from you, Sigma. Thank you.
Phi!
And Diana, you can't blame yourself. No matter what. You made the right decision. It's weird, but I feel like we'll see each other again. So I'm not going to say goodbye. I want the two of you to keep on living. I love you.
Phi!
Phi is burned into nothing but ashes, and the only thing left is her brooch. A flashback set back 2 days before the event. Phi and Diana shares a heart-to-heart, and this is the only time we ever get to see her vulnerable. She grew up in a foster home, and the only thing her mother left her before she passed away was the brooch. Not even Jupiter could find a lost opportunity. Even though she was sent back in time, her whole life now revolves around surviving long enough to save the world.
Hey, Diana. I want to ask you something. Would you mind giving me a hug?
Huh?
I'm just really tired. Thanks. This feels really relaxing.
If this is all you need, then it's no problem.
Could we maybe stay like this for a while?
I don't mind.
Hey, this isn't normal, right?
It is. You're a completely normal girl, Phi.
You're really nice.
People tell me it's a fault of mine.
Thanks.
You already said that.
Okay. Good night then.
Good night, Phi.
Now Diana and Sigma will have to move on without her. This is the timeline where they both survive and everyone's okay. Vi scolds Diana for risking Sigma's life. Even with their lives on the line, it's wholesome how much these guys care about each other. Until the poison got to them. Gab brought them the antidote Akane sent and they're saved. Unless Vi makes the most stupidest assumption and think the antidote is poison. You're already dying. What would drinking that do to you? Die even more? Seriously, they add these type of scenarios just to pad the game out just by 3 minutes longer. Placing their trust in C-Team, they drink the antidote and survive. Some of you may already know this, but why are Vi eyebrows red? Maybe people like me used to like colored hair until those people ruined it. But Vi being a redhead, yeah, white suits are the best. You know, when I was younger, I tried to dye my hair blonde so I can look like a Super Saiyan. The pigment wasn't compatible and it made it orange. I liked it until I grew up and realized that trying to stand out only made me desperate for attention. With C-Team trapped again, Junpei clearly isn't the same person he was a year ago. Yeah, people change with time, but it's like the person Akane knew is buried deep within a broken man. He was always protective of Akane and made awkward conversations with her, almost like he holds some sort of apathy towards her for putting through what she did. Carlos, being the bro that he is, tells him to use the time he has so if they die, they have no regrets. The reason Carlos became a firefighter is to save people. When he came home after buying his sister a present, his house was on fire. He could only save his sister and his parents passed away from it. He joined the DCOM experiment for the money so he can use it to help out his sister. Seriously, Carlos is just a likable ass character. You don't need to be stereotypically cool or try to stand out from the others. Just being the chill bro is all you need to be. In order to leave, the 3 must roll a die and all has to land on 1. If not, they will be gunned down. A 1 in 216 probability that they will succeed. Less than 1%. You have an easier time shiny hunting than never landing this. I mean, if you take the death factor away. Placing their faith in luck, they roll.
Wait, that one doesn't count!
Your hand slipped! That was it, right?
Yeah, what she said! You wouldn't mind a little do-over, right? Zero? Oh, okay, I guess you're not the mulligan type. There! Get on the other side of the bar! Hurry! This should work.
Yeah, that's not even unlucky, it's just unfair. The game doesn't tell you this, but in order to win, you gotta play this game 3 times and watch the magic happen.
Oh, yes! Yes! Hell yeah! We're alive! We're actually alive! Yeah!
Bro, the way Junpei walk is goofy as hell. He's having the time of his life for surviving the impossible.
Hey, are you already drunk?
Yeah, I am! Drunk on life!
But Akane kills the mood with her tangents, saying that they won the dice roll because they're in the timeline where they all landed once and did the impossible while the 6 million other timelines have failed. She even brings in philosophical theories. Observation is interested. We exist because we know we exist. What about a timeline that has no human beings or life in it? It can be caused by the earth not forming or the sun blowing up too soon. We don't know because there's no one there to see it happen. If there's really a god, he has made many dioramas until he made the perfect one. The one we're experiencing are his failures. I'm not always going to say what timeline we're in because, well, I'm just as confused as you. But we're in the one where Sigma gets shot and Diana off herself.
Forget what I just said. Huh. Seems like we're the ones with the best luck.
God hasn't gone and abandoned us.
What do you mean?
Didn't you hear that announcement?
5 X-Passes were released. The only one left to die is Vi from D-Team, and then we...
Junpei! Don't you ever say that, even if it's a joke.
God damn, Junpei. Chill with that shit. Carlos and Akane wake up in the pantry and Junpei is nowhere in sight. Akane reminisces about how Junpei was always there for her and rushed to her aid. I know she's 22 and still really young. Like, what the fuck do I do with my life? I don't even know what a W4 is, but she really likes to act like an anime schoolgirl. As they were solving the puzzle, dismembered body parts are scattered around the room and for some reason they think it's fake, until they find Junpei's head in the freezer. Akane is distraught and grabs the chainsaw to escape the room. All Carlos is doing is telling himself that he has to stay alive so he can see his sister again. Akane goes batshit insane and blames Junpei's death on Carlos, assuming that he killed him. I know she's grieving and losing the love of your life like that will fuck anyone up, but this is the same girl who orchestrated the last Nornery game. That requires precise execution and careful planning. She did all that knowing that Junpei can and will die. Yet here, you see her blame her death on someone who could have easily taken her out anytime. Carlos starts accusing her of killing Junpei. She gets so mad she runs away and turns off the power. Now, you gotta figure out who killed Junpei. If you type in Carlos, well, he's definitely a character. He actually thought he was possessed by a demon or something. If you accuse Akane, she cuts off his arm and you finish the crazy bitch.
I just killed...
It's been a while since we got the Q team. They found a library that appears to be Zero's study. As they investigate the room, they find weapons and opens a giant safe that says, "Kill one." They found that Junpei's head is in the freezer and Carlos off himself. Only one more person needs to die to escape the shelter. Now we're in a three-way stand. And even though Eric has a gun pointed at him, he still simps for Mira. You get to choose who you can shoot. Obviously, the only correct answer is Eric. Mira finishes him off and says that he was delusional that they think they were in a relationship. She proceeds to cut open his chest and explains that she never understood emotion and why Eric liked her so much. In order to understand, she has to find their heart in a literal sense. Her first victim was a woman who was jogging at a park. She killed her, and just remember this because it gets way fucking stupid. Mira is a serial killer, and that's all there is to her. She's not annoying or even that much of a bitch, she's just evil and that's it. Outside of her looks, she's not even a fun character who you enjoy watching causing chaos. She's actually intrusive thoughts personified. Q and Mira escape and that's it. Let's just go to a different timeline already. Q and Eric wake up in a strange room. I mean, all the rooms here are strange, but this one has a wacky puzzle. Mira is nowhere in sight, but you wanna know what is in sight though? A shotgun and Mira's corpse. She was strangled to death, but no one cares by Eric, who's having a PTSD attack. This is the timeline where Carlos killed Akane, so that means that 6 people already have died. We can get out now, but Eric is just an irrational dumbass. I get that he's grieving over a girl who never actually cared about him. I mean, not really, but this is Mr. Delusional we're talking about over here. He accused Q of teaming up with Carlos and killed D teaming Mira. Yes, a child managed to do all that with a person he never communicated with before. Q knocks him away and runs towards the X door, but Eric shows up with a shotgun and blasts the password panel. This guy thinking is truly something. He aims the gun at Q and demands the identity of Mira's killer. We clearly don't know who it is and are unable to answer. As Q is crying on the ground, this is the only time Eric will actually have any sympathy for anyone and decides not to kill him. He tells a story about how he and Mira dated and she reminded him of his late mother, which will be very awkward later. I'll get more into why he's inexcusable, but I want to say this. In fact, I shouldn't say this. Eric and the shotgun is a match made in heaven, which is a crazy thing to say since he will kill everyone with it, even children and the disabled. I just think it's funny and looks right. Just like Elliot Rogers. What he did was reprehensible, but it's like the biggest fucking loser in his $100,000 car crying to the fucking camera and saying how he's seeing couples make him sick and dying a virgin is the last thing he'll ever be. Spoiler alert, retard died a virgin when all he did was play World of Warcraft. C-Team are unsurprisingly stuck in the room. Akane praises Carlos for being a firefighter and saving lives. I think Junpei gets a little jealous and says, "I'm no longer the good guy, just another grown-up." It's like both Akane and Junpei get off to playing these mind games with each other. So a machine catches on fire and the extinguisher in the room takes it out. The carbon dioxide is not stopping and it's getting harder to breathe. In order to survive, they have to choose the correct locker that holds the oxygen mask. There's a 1 in 10 chance that they pick the correct one. But here's the thing, when you make your choice, are you sure that's what you want? 8 other lockers open up and now your decision is a 50-50 chance. It sounds good and favorable in this situation, but this is the Monty Hall problem. When you are given a wide variety of choices to win something, let's say a brand new PS5, you would have to guess what door it's behind. When you have to find that PS5 behind 1 out of 100 doors, you have very little hopes of actually opening the correct one. But once 98 of those doors open up, you now have to choose between the one you randomly picked or the one that might have the console. You start to overthink and get nervous. You either stick with the choice you made with the hopes that door has it, or you pray that other option has it. Akane passes out and it's up to you to pick the correct choice. Luckily, you did pick the right one. The bad part is that there's only one mask. Both Carlos and Junpei agrees on who should take it. With enough X passes, Akane makes her exit. Q-Team are in a biolab and Zero tells them a story about how a woman's chest was cut open and her heart was torn out. A male suspect called a taxi before he was arrested and the surgeon went in it instead. The taxi got into an accident and the surgeon ended up dying. Unfortunately, because of the surgeon's death, a child was waiting for a critical procedure also passed away because of the surgeon's misfortune. Life is truly unfair. So as they were solving the puzzle room, they were pricked with a needle that maybe contained a deadly virus. In order to counteract that virus, they need to inject themselves with Radical 6. The 2 viruses would be so toxic that they will kill each other. But if they were never injected with the virus, then they would just inject themselves with Radical 6 and you already know how that goes. Or they can just say screw it and not inject themselves. Of course, Mira being evil just takes one in case she feels like using it. Q explains to everyone what Radical 6 is and how it's a fatal virus that will kill 6 billion people if it ever got out. I bet Mira is soaking her pants hearing that. In this timeline, C-Team was executed due to the votes and they were put to sleep and they're never going to wake up again after this. Okay, let's inject Radical 6 into us. They all feel normal. So much though, Eric opens up why he's so fucked up. He came from a normal family, mom, dad, and little brother. They all lived happy lives until the mother died. His dad became abusive to the point it caused the death of his little brother. Eric always remembered what his mother told him, to keep smiling. In my opinion, Eric do properly portray what it's like to be a PTSD victim, attachment issues, lack of accountability, blaming others for no good reason, and breaking down as though the trauma has resurfaced, all amplified by the situation they're put in. What he went through really sucks. I still hate this fucking asshole and don't feel bad for him because he actively chooses to hurt anyone who isn't Mira, even going so far as to harm children and people who haven't done anything to him. If you take away Mira and give him some time, there's a high chance he could end up as a mass shooter. And I know there's people out there on Gore website who would love that sick shit. Just like Mira, who laughs at Eric's story. She goes up to him and stabs him in the back. She kills Q and laughs like a psycho bitch. D-Team wakes up in the healing room and it's pretty cool. It changes the scenery of the room and I want something like that now. A button appears in the room and it clearly says don't push. Sigma is like, let's see what happens. Phi heavily opposes him and leaves the decision up to Diana. If a button says don't push it, just don't do it. Yeah. But hey, the door opens if we don't do it, so we're good. Diana asks Sigma about what his and Phi deal are. So you remember that Sigma and Phi came back to the past to stop the spread of Radical 6. Phi retains all of her memories of the events of VLR, so she knows what's up. Sigma, not so much, and the reason is that, well, do you remember Sigma has to work on the AB project? Yeah, he's doing that right now. The Sigma we're seeing right now is the 67-year-old Zero. Must be nice to be back in your 20s again. I know there's some people out there getting really sick of the multiverse stuff and are confused about what timeline we're in. A lot of you probably have questions right now.
This is difficult to take in all at once.
It's the truth.
Still, if you don't explain to me how it does whatever it does...
So you want to know what it is exactly? I'll sum it up in one sentence. I don't know.
Really now?
The two find out that not only C-Team were executed, but also all of Q-Team is dead. A stranger dressed in a hooded robe with a scalpel charges at the two and stabs Sigma. I'm not going to even try to hide it, it's Mira. They didn't want to spoil the reveal too soon, but yeah, it's her. Sigma holds her off as Diana searches for Phi. When she finds her, they both return to Sigma as he's near his end. He dies in Diana's arm, and now she's grieving. Grieving so hard she makes no sense and start accusing Phi of being the killer. Okay, I understand that this is an extremely stressful situation and people cannot think clearly. It's easy to be a bystander and say what you would do in a situation like this. But holy shit, Diana, you're really accusing Phi? Guess what? Now Phi is dead and she feels stupid. With 6 X-passes now, she can't escape. Unless Mira stabs her and leaves herself. Now I really think about it, this is such a pointless timeline that doesn't really connect or add anything. What a waste of time. Let's go back to the most important one. They're in the manufacturing room full of robots and it bothers Sigma. Considering he has a history with them, it makes sense. Diana notices and starts asking what's on his mind. Sigma tells her that he spent his life making AI to assist him on his grandeur plan. But there's more to that. I'ma let this scene play out because it's in the game that makes you question whether you should take any of this seriously or not.
It's a long story. Let's just say that it was vital to the completion of my plan. No, maybe that's not quite true. It could have just been my cover. To tell the truth, I was simply lonely. I spent several decades of my life alone, in the middle of a desolate desert. I lived in a facility built deep underground, much like this shelter is. Sometimes an acquaintance stopped by, but that was it. No calls or even emails. It was a place of complete and utter quiet. No rain, no wind, just a buzz that echoed in my ears constantly. Still, it wasn't as if I was all alone at the start. Someone was there to help me for a short while after I started living at the facility. A woman. She was very lovely, kind and gentle. Her name was, well, let's just call her Dee. Dee and I, we lived together for 3 years. We spent the time researching genetics and studying various subjects like quantum mechanics, cosmology, biochemistry, and artificial intelligence. But the woman passed away.
Why?
The facility's environment was very particular. To be brief, it had weak gravity. As a result, an illness developed within her circulatory system. My grief overwhelmed me. 3 years passed, and the pain was as fresh as ever.
So that's why the robots...
I recreated Dee's appearance as best I could. I made her thought patterns match as close as possible. I spent 25 years completing her. And of course, it was impossible to perfectly replicate everything about Dee. Still, she ended up pretty close. For a robot. I named her Luna. Luna was very devoted to me. I also found that I truly loved her. Not as a woman, but more like a daughter. Do you hate me?
No, I'd never.
It wants to remind you that these characters are stuck in an endless hell and they have to spend the rest of their lives trying to escape from it or distract themselves. You can be the smartest person in the world and even spend your entire life trying to save it. Even with an accomplishment like that, what's the point if there's no one to share it with? There's a real loneliness epidemic in our society where people, mostly men, are developing the mindset that it's better to be alone than with people who makes you feel lonely. While that is the correct road to go down and it's the one I choose to walk on every day, some people just swear off connection and claim that they're better off like that. I'm not going to sit here and deny that. Maybe it is for the best, but how can you say that's 100% true if you're turned into animals or even AI for companionship? I mean, it makes sense. You're either damaged to the point that any relationship falls apart when it gets too hard, or you're forced to make certain decisions that naturally or dramatically drifts anyone away. Why wouldn't they choose the easier and safer choice? Things like that can make anyone isolate themselves. Better be hated for who you are rather than loved for who you're not. Because of that, guys will take it a step further and stop obsessing over self-improvement, success, and achievements, but somewhere deep down, they just want some sort of acknowledgement, not just from anyone, from someone who they see as a life companion. Why is Junpei such an asshole in this game? It's only been a year, but within that year, he joined a detective firm to find Akane. He saw some horrible shit that questioned his views on humans, human trafficking, black markets, things that no person themselves should ever seen. He heard that Akane signed up for DCOM and that led him here. It's not that he wants to be hostile towards her, but after everything she put him through, and will continue to do so, it will make anyone better. Fi comes up with a plan to escape. They can use the bomb, or what the hell that thing even is, to blow up the door in the decontamination room to escape. Zero is pissed and says that's not allowed. They can blow up the door and escape, but Q-Team are on the other side. They need to stop the bomb, but the room is now showered in hydrofluoric acid. There's a suit they can wear to get through it, but Sigma says there's no time. He tricks Diana and Fi to run away as he stays behind to defuse the bomb. It blows up, Sigma walks out, missing both of his arm and an eye. As they leave through the exit they created, they see Q-Team and they're dead. Mira is barely hanging on. The last thing she does is inject Fi with Radical 6. Fi desperately demands that they kill her and burn her body. Diana refuses and uses a taser she found and knocks Fi out. She takes the lift and the three makes it out.
6 of us are dead.
What?
Counting myself, there are only 3 left.
How? Why are...
They were killed.
What?
I guess you could say I killed them. No, that's not quite right. Not just them. Not just these 6. All of them. All 6 billion. Soon, I will have killed 6 billion people.
Are you there? Respond!
This is the timeline of Virtue's last reward. Let's go back to the timeline where Fi was burned in the incinerator and the two have to move on without her. They wake up in the transporter room and there's I'm not even kidding, an alien copy machine. It lets you create a replica of yourself in a different timeline. Okay, this is just a thing now. We went from sci-fi to supernatural. I promise you this won't be the only bullshit you'll see. The announcement confirms the death of 6 people. One of them includes Fi, and Akane has already left. Sigma is in denial and tries to search for Fi, but nothing. He comes up with the idea to use the transporter and go to a history where Fi is. They both climb into the pod and come out of the export one. But that's a different timeline. It doesn't work like that. They're stuck in the one they're in. Not even sure Akane will ever come back or even remember what happened. There's only enough food for 10 months. All they can do is wait. Just walk around each room, eat the same canned food, and wait. Diana begs and begs to be let out. No response. All Sigma can do is just hang on. 2 weeks have passed, and they're just laying down in the healing room talking, saying how it's actually relaxing that they don't have to deal or hear anything about the chaos that's going on in the outside world. Being stuck in the worst case scenario, you can at least try to look at the positives. Diana shows off her bluebird and even brings up the story of Titil and Mytil, how happiness is closer than you think. By now it's pretty obvious that Luna is based off of Diana. Of course, don't forget the twist of the story. Happiness will slip through your finger the moment you believe you have it. Just like how Diana is breaking down after realizing that they've been trapped for a month. How can you blame her? With no hope of escape or rescue, all you're stuck with is looking at and eating the same thing. Anyone would go crazy. What pushed her over the edge is what Sigma said to her. The reason Diana even signed up for DCOM in the first place was to escape. She was married, but her ex-husband was an unemployed alcoholic who would always resort to beating her. She left him, but he would start stalking her, asking her for favors, and if she didn't comply, it only meant another beating. a common manipulation tactic abuser uses, acting vulnerable and saying how much they love you. She would always go back to him, and the only way to get away is seclusion. The reason Sigma knows all of this is because she told him. Diana starts drinking herself silly. Sigma takes the ball away from her and she starts fighting for it back. The ball breaks and she's about to lick it off the ground, but Sigma pushes her away. She is losing her mind and even asks Sigma to sleep with her. He obviously ain't going to do anything when she's in that state. She even asks Sigma to end her life. He slaps her out of it, but that makes her run away. Diana's on her knees crying as Sigma hugs her from behind and apologizes. She was silently screaming out for help, but he did nothing but watch her suffer. In actuality, Sigma was too scared to reach out and get attached to her, only to lose her again. The two embrace each other and even start making love in the pod? I did not see that coming. With some time, Diana finds out that she's pregnant. When the day finally comes, the two end up having twins, a boy and a girl. Listen, I don't want to ruin the moment, but those are some ugly ass babies.
You know how people claim unconditional love? I hated that phrase. I thought it was a lie. I thought there's no way something like that exists. I'm a selfish bastard. Every time I help someone, in the back of my mind, I'm expecting recompense. Whether it be gratitude, praise, or for a higher power to approve of me. But now, I know. There really is such a thing as unconditional love in this world. There's no doubt in my mind that I'd give my life for them. Not for gratitude or praise. I don't believe in God, so it's not for God either. I need nothing in return. I don't care if I fade away. I just want them to be safe. And to survive. That's all I ask. Gab, listen to me. You know that biscuit I just gave you? That was the last one. There's nothing else left. Thanks for everything. We've gone through so much pain. You always listened to me when I vented to you. You saved me many times. So, thank you.
Even at the age of 67, spending decades of his life in solitude, he can still find happiness and meaning. After 10 months, the transporter finally recharged and it's ready to use. They plan to transport the two so they can at least have a chance in a different life. That life being in the past. For that, they named their children. The son name is Delta, while their daughter is named after Phi. Diana leaves her mementos with them, and then they activate the transporters. This is probably one of the darkest ambiguous endings I have ever seen. We don't know what actually happened to them. The best case scenario is that rescue finally comes, but that's unlikely. An entire family, brand new parents with 2 infants and a dog, will starve to death and the only thing they have in the end is each other. Fuck, it's messing me up just thinking about it. Oh yeah, and yes, our Phi is their daughter. Thank God I never shipped Sigma and Phi, although him asking her to wear a swimsuit now makes my stomach hurt. C-Team are in the reactor room and of course Junpei is like, ew, can't I be my girlfriend? Yucky! I swear I wish this game dropped the anime romance tropes. It's not the time and place. As you solve the puzzles that require electrical currents through the water, Akane just somehow steps on it? Yeah, not very bright of you, huh? Carlos and Junpei enter a room with 2 tablets and now they're forced to play the AB game. I don't need to explain the rules to you guys, but whoever gets 9 points, the player lives along with 3 other people and the rest dies. Before voting, the 2 have a heart-to-heart where they have someone really important they need to stay alive for. But Carlos wants to see his sister again, so he picks Betray. It's all calculated. Junpei says he'll get us back, but he's going to die anyway. That's why Akane decides to beat Carlos over the head and bashes his brains in. People really be dying in silly ways. Alright, let's pick Ally, and of course he picks Betray. Just like VLR, he remembered him pick an ally. Before we get back to them, let's quickly go to the timeline where Q-Team injected Radical 6 into themselves and Mira escaped. Q wakes up all fine even though he was stabbed. Zero summons Q to the dome room and explains everything to him. He shows some replicas of him and it's revealed that he's not only a robot, but his real name is Sean. That's what I'm going to call him from now on. He's modeled after a boy who died from a disease. Zero showed him a quantum computer that holds all data and memories and even create a simulation where the boy is cured of his disease and can live a happy life. Listen, I don't know and not sure of it myself, but later you're gonna see Sean shift and it's confusing because he's a robot and have no conscience. Just let the supercomputer hold all the data across dimensions. I really do ask where and how Zero get all of these. He tells him the password to remove his head and leaves. He types in the code and it turns out that helmet is actually his head. Carlos jumped into his body before they started the AB game and warned Junpei to not play because it will always end badly. Akane wakes up and tells Carlos that he shifted. They start talking about Back to the Future, and I can't even look at the end of that movie the same ever again. There's the multi-world theory where each world is created with every decision you make. So when Marty returns to the present where his dad is rich and famous, what happened to the Marty of that history? Basically, he was murdered by the Marty we were following, and the timeline where he was poor has been erased. Let's say it hasn't been erased, but Marty still took over the rich Marty body. Where would that one go? Well, he would now be forced to live in the poor timeline. Now, some of you can't even look at the movie the same anymore. Now Carlos realized that the one he traded bodies with is now suffering an agonizing death. So the three of them can shift. In fact, it's revealed that these telepathic powers are becoming more common. Wow, that really diminishes our purpose in this world. They agreed that instead of playing the AB game, they can just shift into another timeline. Needing to be in grave danger for it to work, they used the reactor to blow up the whole place. Even though this is Akane's plan, she has no idea where they would jump to. God damn, they wrote her to be more stupid in this game. Junpei tells them to go to the timeline where they lose the dice game. I think Junpei punched Akane in the stomach or something and throws her in the fireplace.
Junpei, what are you?
Akane, listen to me. Carlos and I are going to be your shield wall. What?
What are you talking about?
The bullets shouldn't hit you if there are two bodies in front of you.
But if you do that, then you'll...
It's okay. Listen, Carlos and I will protect you and die. The fuck?
Junpei and Carlos get shot down as Akane is now traumatized by the experience. But hey, she has 7 X passes now and is upset at Junpei. Survivor's guilt is a real thing. Junpei apologizes by proposing to her, just like what all girls dream about, being stuck in a cool and fucked up scenario as the love of your life says, my bad, will you marry me? Carlos is just smug as hell. As you type in one of the X passes, it doesn't work. What about the other one? Yeah, it looks like we can't use passes from other timelines. Junpei is losing his shit. All that pain and death was for nothing. Having enough, he runs off planning to off himself. They run into one of the robots, Sean, and it's beating all of their asses. Carlos is against the wall and he needs to shift into another history. The one where he kills Akane and loses an arm. Damn, that sudden pain must be excruciating. He get Gab to send Q-Team a letter to check behind the family portrait. Sean and Eric discover there's a hidden door with a hint that requires the twins' birthday. It's not for them to open, it's for Diana and Sigma. They came out of the export pods and made it to the other side of the door. Typing in the birthday of their kids, the door opens and they find Eric and Sean sleeping in pods. They even find the dead bodies of not only the already deceased, but also of themselves. Even going to another timeline, they only end up finding the headless corpse of 5. With 6 people dead, they quickly search for Carlos. He's standing by the door and Sigma demands him to toss the axe aside. Finding out that that door is unable to open because the input device is full of bullet holes. Eric comes in with his school shooter attitude. Eric is the man for the person who killed Mira, and now everyone's really confused because they're in Ward D right now. Diana tells Eric to shoot the wall, and what do you know, it's all a projection just like the healing room. The plot twist is that they were never in different wards. They were always in the same one. It's just each team has a different time on their watch, and whoever gets knocked out or dies gets put in the sleeping pod. Yeah, the plot twist makes sense. Kinda suspicious they all had the same layout, but consider that they were supposed to be in different wards is not that weird. It just doesn't do that much for me. I guess it's because even though they were all in the same ward, it doesn't really have any real impact at all whether they were in the same one or separate ones. If they were to drop clues or did something that unintentionally helped the other teams, then yeah, that would work, but it's just a twist for the sake of being a twist. Of course, Eric, being a deranged asshole, still demands for the person who killed Mira. He accuses Carlos, and in order for him to claim his innocence, Carlos will have to shift. He asks Diana how to use the transporter, and with the newfound knowledge, he's ready to head back. Carlos taunts Eric bitch ass, and it has to be one of the funniest deaths ever.
Don't worry, I won't die. Even if this body is destroyed, my consciousness will be...
The confidence is insane. Carlos heads back to save Junpei and Akane. He dodges the robot and brings the two into the transporter room. Zero left a recording and says that he no longer exists in this world because he died due to the votes. If they want answers, they must search for him where he is alive and they're dead. Where's that? The VLR timeline. The robot comes into the room as Carlos holds it off. Akane and Junpei gets in the pod and transport. Carlos kicks the robot so hard it breaks the transporter panel, and now everything is going to blow up, and he says, "I'm going to die." This is exactly what I need! Both Junpei and Akane are now in the other timeline. Zero tells them that the first Radical 6 patient has left and the world is going to be doomed. Zero is also the leader of Free the Soul, his brother. Remember that cult Dio was a part of? Yeah, that one. Zero's plan is to kill an even bigger threat than him, a religious fanatic that will end mankind. He doesn't know the identity of the person, so he uses a deadly virus in hopes that person catches it and dies. That is extremely irrational. Just wait, I'll get into Zero's motive later, and you're not going to like it. Before he leaves, he says that he and his sister were born in this shelter. He was transported back in 1904, making Zero 120 years old. He gives the two a password and invites Akane to a cult gathering in which she will eventually go to. The door blasts open and the man of the hour is here. Remember when Carlos ran into that wall? He used the transporter, made a replica of himself in this timeline, and waited 10 months to save the both of them. If there's a person you need in your life, it is someone like Carlos, named Carlos. I looked up in the dictionary and it means strong man or free man in Spanish or Portuguese. Junpei shits on him because he did not think of stopping Zero's plan, and now the whole world is fucked.
Do you know what happened because of you? Mira and Eric died. Sigma lost his arms and an eye, and he's in the hospital!
That's not all. Zero said the first Radical 6 patients have left.
It's too late. We can't stop the spread of the virus.
What happened today is going to result in 6 billion people.
That has to be the funniest face in the game, I swear. Akane is now going to dedicate her life to saving the world. Junpei said he's going to help her, but she doesn't want to drag him into all of this. She uses the bracelet to knock him out and tells him to forget about her. But as we see in Tenmyoji, he can never let go of her and will spend the rest of his life searching for her, just to be with her again. I think how they connect this game to VLR's story and answer certain questions is really clever, albeit very convoluted and very diminishing once you start thinking about the multi-world theory and time loops. Hey, at least the ride has been enjoyable so far. Let's fuck it all up. After Eric kills Carlos, he aims his gun at Sean and demands him to tell him who killed Mira, even after all we already established that we don't know. The only way to show him is by taking off the helmet, proving that he's a robot and couldn't have killed Mira because there was red blood on her when his is white. It still isn't enough for Eric. The only way is to know Zero's true identity, and we know him as Delta.
Delta?
I've heard that name before.
Yeah, me too.
Oh yeah, you guys wouldn't know. Because you transported into this history.
Would you stop yapping, Sean? This old man's name is Q.
That's right!
That's what he was called at DCOM.
Yeah, I called him that. And Mira, she always called this man Q, too.
Then...
Yeah, this is the big reveal. This old man is Q. Never once has anyone called Sean that. He was here all along. You can see his shadows, the sun mentions of him, the decision game and next door, Dessa means 10, Roman numerals, even Zero Time Dilemma is an anagram. I mean, no normal person would have figured it out, but whatever. I can tell you this is the worst fucking character they have introduced in the series. I'll save it at the end. This 120-year-old man who lived through multiple wars is supposed to be deaf, blind, and paraplegic. He was obviously faking and used his glasses that were actually linked to cameras to observe everyone. That explains why they went with the cinematic direction in this game. He admits that he and Mira were collaborating, and I don't really know the purpose why she was there. I guess to cause chaos. He ends up killing her because she's a psychopathic serial killer and bitch got what she deserved. They need answers from him and to also escape. Zero gives them the code to get into the main computer, but Zero uses his ability to control Eric to kill Sean and Sigma. With no use for this history anymore, he only leaves his mom alive and that's it. Remember the decontamination room where everyone has a choice to push the button and get rid of the other two teams? In the relevant timeline, none of them did. Each team has a force quit box they need a code to input, because we're the player, we know it. We also know that each team wakes up at different times, so they must unknowingly work together and unlock the code. With Carlos remembering everything, he thinks for an hour and starts hitting on Akane.
I was thinking about you, Akane.
Me?
You're, well, to be blunt, really hot.
Huh?
We may never manage to make our way out of the shelter. You know what that means, right?
I'm sorry. I'm not sure.
What the hell are you getting at, you asshole?
Oh look, a Neanderthal is trying to block my way.
What? Wait, what the hell?
Carlos! No! Please, stop this!
Shut the fuck up! You bastard! What the? Hey! Wait up! What the hell are you doing, Carlos?
I suppose I couldn't control myself?
You asshole!
What? Is that all you got?
What did you say?
That's the extent of your feelings for Akane? Huh?
Damn you!
That was a good one. Oh, I can tell you're finally getting fired up over this.
Shut the fuck up! You fucking asshole!
I swear, Carlos' sarcastic delivery is top notch. To make peace with everyone, he offers them a drink but drops the glass to get them to the other side of the counter so they can be out of view. Sean needs to access the central computer. He unlocks the cover and takes off his helmet to connect cables to it. Now Sean remembers the other timelines. With their help, okay, only Sean's help, it gives D-Team the clue they need to activate the box. A mother's mementos. Diana knows what those are because she gave them to her children. The 3 remembers everything.
What's gotten into you?
Fi. Oh, Fi!
What? No. Diana, you're...
Sigma!
You don't have to say anything. This is enough for now.
The story of Tita and Mito. Happiness is closer than you think. Even if it does slip through your finger, it is a choice to find it again. Not even bad animation can ruin this scene. Breaking the illusion, the three teams finally meet up. The reason the two teams aren't asleep is because Carlos came up with a plan to use intergalactic green cards to stop the injection while not raising suspicion.
First, Carlos pushed me down and climbed on top of me.
He what?
It was just an act. I was only pretending to do it.
Careful, Carlos. All it takes is one liar and it's over. Delta comes in with the shotgun and explains things. C-Team and D-Team have the ability to enter the morphic genetic field, while Sean has the quantum computer. They are shifter. Eric and Mira aren't. Everything is being explained to them, and they just have to roll with it. Delta is not a shifter. His power is to mind hack. Mind hacking. Control another person's body and reading their mind. This is so fucking retarded. Shifting is already questionable, but they did it in the first game but sparingly. Why does he have a superpower is beyond me. This game really went into the supernatural territory. Aliens and now ancient men with superpowers? What a finale this is. Of course, he knew Carlos was put on an act. All that effort and pain was for nothing. The reason Delta knows about other timelines is because of his power, and now he gathered everyone to play the final decision game. He needed everyone to participate so he and Phi could be born. They were sent to 1904 Germany, where the device was located. They used the device again on Phi and moved her forward to 2008. Phi is furious and rushes at Delta and kicks him like she's still on the moon. Eric grabs his shotgun and aims it at Delta, while Diana places the memento in the box. It actually activated the self-destruct timer, all part of Delta's plan. His plan also involves Gab's death. Aw, poor doggy. With the power of mind hacks, Delta gets Eric to shoot him. The final choice, either stay and die or jump into a timeline where they're all alive, where they win the coin toss. The catch is, they would kill the other them from that timeline. I don't know why this is a concern now, considering that we've been doing this the whole game. In fact, that seems like it was necessary and not a thought went into their minds about it. Carlos was just having a blast jumping around. Of course, we only care about ourselves, so with 6 shifters, Eric, Mira, and I guess Sean can also shift. Now in the other bodies and outside, Delta explains everything. The story he was telling about the woman who stepped on a snail was Eric's mother. She went down a different path while jogging and was killed by Mira. The man who was framed was Akane's father, who was a surgeon that was supposed to save the real Sean, but the boy passed away. Life is truly unfair. Like Delta's existence, the most stupidest fucking character in the series. He's the main villain who actually ends up being the good guy. Yeah, in this timeline, he won't release Radical 6, but now the whole world is doomed because of a religious fanatic. But don't worry, because all the pain and deaths they went through, they're determined to save the world now. For some reason, even Mira agrees. That was Delta's main plan, to make everyone motivated. At this point, making the bad guy the actual hero adds nothing, while giving him a brand new superpower undermines the ability to shift. If you give him that, then what's stopping you from adding any more powers? They didn't need to make Delta, aka brother, to be related to D-Team. He could have just been his own individual and the story could have still be the same. They just wanted a twist for shock value, not a revelation that changes how I see the game. The secret 10 people twist could have been good if he was an actual completed character that doesn't get himself and others killed for no reason. He throws Carlos a gun and gives him one final choice.
With that gun there, you will be able to choose whether to kill me now or allow me to leave. I promise I won't use mind hacking on you. You are free to decide. Which shall it be? Pull the trigger or let me go. The fates of you, me, and mankind are all on the line. This is the decision game.
Once you complete the game, you can read the epilogue and see what happens after. Carlos ends up not shooting Delta. Sometimes after, Junpei and Akane plans their wedding and Carlos is back with his sister. Don't worry, I know he'll be the best man. After that, they'll go find that fanatic. Mira turns herself in. Sean and Eric visits her. I don't know if he's still wearing that helmet, it would be weird if he is. Even though Mira killed Eric's mother and ruined his life, he still loves her. Sean asks Mira if she wanted another chance. He breaks her out of prison and is planning to use the transporter so Mira can stop herself from being the serial killer in another timeline. Shitty way to redeem someone, but whatever works. What happens to D-Team, the best and most emotionally driven characters in the game? No one knows, like they actually didn't get an epilogue. That was anticlimactic. Believe it or not, doing my own research without using other YouTubers as reference is not my favorite aspect of making these videos. I click on the first thing that looks reliable and not going deeper. I know some people like doing that, but I prefer to put more time into talking about the game itself rather than the history and trivias. Although I do like talking about it here and there, like talking about the Titanic and the supernatural legend with the mummy, or the many real life theories and quantum mechanics that gets you really to question our place in the world. Get existential? This is the cosmic web that interconnects our galaxy to others. A system so big, it's impossible to comprehend. Alternate timelines and parallel universes are more realistic than aliens. If there's intelligent life out there, that's scary. If there's no intelligent life out there, that's scary. I don't believe in God or anything like that. I hope humanity never find the answers for existence. I still hate visual novels, but 9 Hours, 9 Person, 9 Doors is actually one of my favorite stories ever told. It's the exception to the rule. I don't want to call it a game because it's unfair to compare it to its more interactive counterparts. Although it is incomparable, it uses, if you play the original hardware, the medium in its hardware you'll be unable to find anywhere else. Honestly, you can play this alone and not worry about the sequels that come after, and you'll be content. Sadly, it only goes down from there. Virtual Last Reward isn't bad, but I learned that over time I enjoyed it even less than before. The repetition, the setting, the characters, and even when they put a focus on shifting, it gets stale fast. Doesn't help that they replaced the nice anime art with bland 3D models. That's the main problem. The more you look at it, the uglier it gets. Everyone values the journey more than the destination. If the journey is lackluster, you start to question if it's really worth reaching the end. I'm not trying to apply real game standards to this, but if a piece of media can make me feel like I'm growing and thinking as a viewer, then it's not worth my time. What makes 999 better is that you eventually start to put the pieces together on your own. I'm not talking about the puzzles, I'm talking about how they use context clues to help the player complete the story instead of giving you the answers at the end of a route, knowing that it's going tied together eventually. I don't like doing comparison like this, but then again, they choose to make a sequel. I give Zero Time Dilemma a lot of shit, and it's warranted. Weak animations, confusing structure, insufferable characters, inconsistency, and heavily diminishes its own story by raising the stakes so high, it's pointless to even care. Despite all of that, I can't bring myself to hate it. Outside of the puzzles, it never felt boring to sit through. It has strong moments that captured my attention and unintentionally silly ones that made me burst out laughing. Thanks to the fan base, the studio gathered the low budget they had and greenlit it. It was made for the fans and to give Uchikoshi closure. Maybe not the way anyone wants it, but it's something, and it can never ruin 999 for me. I bet there's someone out there that's tired of me glazing that game, but piss off, I do what I want. Well, that's the end of this series. They can never make another game because there's nothing left to do. Will I ever do more visual novels? I don't know. I have ideas, but those ideas might not work. It's a cat in the box situation. Is it alive or is it dead? Till next time or something.